said you had skipped, and did you affix your thumbprint on those documents as well?
Masenifika ke khona lapho wawasayina ke lamaphepha la bekuthiwa ukhohliwe ke wasayina noma awasayina wabeka nesithupha sakho futhi.
Ayesayine ngabeka isithupha kuphela.
Not my signature but only the thumbprint.
Ngoba isignature ayikhona ngokushoda isithupha.
Because the signature was already there, it was only the thumbprint that wasn't there.
After that exercise, what then transpired?
Kwasekwenzekani ke emva kwalokho?
Emveni kwalokho inkosi enkantolo imoto yaphuma ke khona sahamba ngangabona ukuthi ihamba kuphi ngoba okusuka kwayo mangaphosisi ngayibona nje mina sijapa angisazi baya police station enye noma singenanga kodwa phakathi lo police station safike nje sama ngaphandle.
We then proceeded, my lord. There's this particular police station that we went to, but we did not go inside there. We just stopped outside.
Wehla kumhani wangena ngaphakathi inkosi enkantolo.
Hana alighted and went in.
What then transpired?
Masahleli lapho kwangena ifoni kumabhena ngamathi mabhena hello mphathi.
While seated there, Mabena received a call, and then that's when I heard Mabena responding by saying, hello Mphathi, which is hello boss.
Ngoba ngangiwezwa impendulo zakho mabhena emekhuluma emethi kuthiwa angingabhukha lapha ngingobhukha khona akiwe Rustenburg.
Because I could hear from Mabena's answers, my lord, that I was not supposed to be booked there. I must be booked back into Rustenburg.
Ngeqiniso ke inkosi enkantolo imoto ihambile. Ngangayibona ukuthi ihamba apho ngayibona esiphuma toll gate mina le yase Rustenburg ebhala ukuthi bakwena.
Indeed, the car traveled. I didn't see where it was traveling, but I only noticed when it was going through the toll gate, the one written Bakwena.
Ngoba yo le ihamba usayitshena umhulu imoto ngayibona iphuma kwi toll gate imala phambi kwethu ngoba iya yayishaya blue light ngemuva yona escort yami ngoba Jonathan basebehambile.
I saw the vehicle in which Mukhula was traveling in when it just passed the toll gate and just waited for us, in other words parked in front of us, because it was the same car that was escorting us.
Now, just before I disturb you on your chain of testimony, evidence led in this court is that on the trip to Rustenburg, Mohane Mabena traveled with you, and Sergeant Mohola and Brigadier Gininda traveled separately. You only met in Rustenburg. What is your comment?
Ngobufakazi ke obusebethuke phambi kwale nkantolo ukuthi ke ukuya eRustenburg uMkhane noMabhena behamba nawo. Umukhula noGininda babeyihambela bona nani izohlangana ngaphambili.
Cha inkosi enkantolo iphutha lela bambale nalo wesithathu babehamba nalo ama-class band abangamshini.
No, my lord, that is a mistake. They should also count the third person who was with them, the one that was wearing the braces.
Masamba endleleni inkosi enkantolo yiyo la yayiza ngemuva la yadriver ngusayitsheni imoto. Ifortuna yayihamba phambi kwayo. Kwi-toll gate siphume sonke.
When we were traveling, my lord, that is the very same car that was escorting us, driven by Mukhula, coming behind us. When we exited the toll gate, we were together.
Ingakho nje ngicela ubaba uNgomezulu ngicela ngicelele footage ye toll gate mayezothi nasiphumanga sonke siphume ngokuhlukana.
Hence, I made a request to Mr. Mngomezulu to request for the footage of the toll gate if they were disputing that we were together there at the toll gate.
Now, for clarification purposes, what car was driven by Sergeant Mohola on the way to Rustenburg?
Endleleni eya eRustenburg yipi imoto eyayishayelwa uSergeant Mohola?
Angisakhumbuli noma kwakuyiphi noma kwakuyigolf angisakhumbuli kahle kahle ngoba imoto bayishintsha.
I can't recall whether it was a BMW, a Golf, because they change cars.
Now proceed further. You then proceed to Rustenburg. What then happened? Did you reach your destination?
Na yofika ke eRustenburg.
Yebo sifikile ePhukeng.
Yes, we got to Phukeng.
Let's go at Phukeng when you arrived for the first time there.
Manifika lapho naya kuphi?
Singene police station inkosi enkantolo yakhona.
We went to the local police station, my lord.
And what was the reason for going to the police station, if you know that?
Kwakuyini injongo yakuya khona lapha police station?
Angazi inkosi enkantolo.
I don't know, my lord.
And just for clarification, you are at Phukeng. It's the Toyota Fortuner and the other car that was driven by Mohola that you don't know what it was. Did you from Phukeng then go somewhere else?
Senise Phukeng ike manje
Phukeng SAPS. Did you go somewhere else? Sorry.
Senisephuke ngike manje kukhona ifortune nale ke eyishayelwa umholo. Ukusuka lapho khona la enaya khona uma iphuma epolice station yasephuke ngikhona la enaya khona.
Yebo sala lapho ngihlala khona ephase 2 Freedom Park kwasenkantolo.
Yes, my lord, we went to where I resided in phase 2 Freedom Park.
Now, evidence led in this court is that the reason for going to Phukeng SAPS was for the investigating team on this matter to get an escort to go to your residence. Were you accompanied by police from Phukeng SAPS?
Ufakazi baboke uma bebethula la enkantolo bashilo ukuthi injongo yokuthi baye epolice station yasePhukeng kwakuwukuthi bayothola ke amaphoyisa endawo ayizobaphelekezela ke ukuthi niye la uhlala khona wena. Mbuzo uthi ke ngabe naphelezelwa yini amaphoyisa endawo asePhukeng?
Yebo nkosenkantolo.
That's true, my lord.
Then take it further now. When you are at your place of residence in phase 2, what transpired there?
Kwase kwenzekani ke manje senifikileke ephase 2 la uhlala khona kwenzekani?
Masifika elokishini nkosenkantolo lapha engihlala khona ephase 2 Freedom Park.
When we got into the township, my lord, where I was staying in phase 2 Freedom Park,
Sangena ngestrata lese ngangihlala iphevile kuhamba amatekisi vendlela amatekisi.
we then got into the township through the street in which, the very same street in which I am staying in, where the taxis are operating or are traveling.
Makufanele ngabe sifika ngalapha engihlala ngakhona imoto yamisiwe.
When we were about to reach my place of residence, then the car was stopped.
Behla ke emotweni no mama umhola no Ginenda no Mabhena no Mkhane no baba lo ngangamazwa amaClesband.
They then alighted from the vehicles, that is Mrs. Mukhula, Mr. Gininda, Mukhane, Mabhena, as well as the unknown gentleman.
What then happened?
Mabehla ke behambeke ngomgwaqo lapha engihlala ngakhona ngoba lapha sesimkhona akhona into njaba nje strata sokuqala kwesesibili bayafika khona.
They then walked, my lord, towards where I was residing because it wasn't far from where we were parked. We just jump one street
Ngoba
and
mina
get there.
lapha engangimkhona ngangimna amaphoyisa sePhukeng ngawayanga le wona ngangishiyeke nawo la escort.
Because where I was left with the Phukeng police station. They did not go there with them.
Bahamba ngabona bejika ngathi bajikela ngaseJardini angazi ukuthi eJardini kwake kwenziwani.
They walked, they then turned towards the premises. I don't know as to what it is that they went to do there.
And when you say premises, what are you referring to?
Uma uthi ke eJardini ukhuluma ngani?
Lapha engihlala khona ngangireta khona.
Where I was residing, my lord.
What then transpired?
Kwase kwenzekani?
Ngoba ngihlele emotweni ngithi ngiyababuka kunogesi la wamapholi kuyakhanya vele lapha. Ngiyababona ngoba behamba mebejika futhi ngiyababona. Angibazi ukuthi bafike benzani ngale.
From where I was seated, my lord, I could see because there was a lamp pole, so I could see as they were walking and even when they turned. But as to what it is that they did when they got inside, I don't know.
What then happened, sir?
Ukuthi ke nkosenkantolo bangela benzana mina ngangishiyeke emotweni angibazi.
As to what it is that they did when they got inside, I don't know because I was in the vehicle.
Ngaphinde ke ngababona ke sebebuya sebeza ke mina.
I then saw them coming back towards me.
What then happened, sir?
Mayefika ke kimi ubaba lo Mkhane uphethe okuplastic okuncane nje so ngesandla.
When they got to me, Mukhane was in possession of a small plastic.
Mayefika emathi ndoda ngithola nazo enhlamvu endlini yakhe akaze ngiyibone ngamehlo ngoba zazi plastic mayethi ngithola nazo enhlamvu endlini yakhe azange ngiyibone ngamehlo.
When he got to me, he said, I'm getting these ammunition from your house, and he was sort of shaking them. I couldn't see them a lot because they were in the plastic, and then said, I found these ammunition from your house.
What was your reaction or what was your response to that incident, Mukhane showing you a plastic bag saying, we found ammunition from your residence? What was your response?
Wathini ke wena umuphendula mayesho?
Ngathi mina akayikhiphe ngiyibona akaze ngiyibone namanje.
I asked him to take them out for me to see them because even up to now I've never seen them.
Ngoyazi endlini yami nkosenkantolo ukuthi mina akunani kusanda ukhiye ushiya kimi lapha ephokoteni.
And my lord, knowing very well that there was nothing in my house and he left the key with me in my pocket.
And endlini nkosenkantolo apha ngihlala khona kukhiwa igrill ibhakla kunomnyango mina ngangiphethe ukhiye wegrill phela webhakla umnyango womnyango ngangenawo.
And my lord, where I was staying or where I'm staying, there was a burglar gate or a burglar bar as well as a door. So I only had the key to the burglar gate, but not that of the door.
ukuthi yena ke intamvu lezi akhuluma ngazo ukuthi wayithola endlini yami ukuthi wayithola kuyiphi indlu ngisafuna ukwazi namanje.
As to the fact that he found ammunition in my house, I still want to know up till today as to where he got them from.
Now, you testified that on the 16th of June 2020, when you were arrested, Mohane and Mabena came to you. You were with your partner. On the 19th, where was she? On the 19th of June 2020, where was she?
Ushilo ukuthi ngazo i16 ke nkathi uboshwa ke okanye ke naye ke usesilona othi ke uthandana naye ke ngazo i19 waye kuphi?
Angazi ko senkantolo ngoba ngena ngejaridini.
I don't know, my lord, because I did not go into the premises.
Now, evidence led in this court is that from Phokeng, you were transported to your place, you were taken out of the car, and the police officers that were there, Mohola, Mohane, Mabena, they went together with you into the house. A search was conducted.
Ngobufakazi ke ophambi kwalenkantolo mama kiwa ke ephukeni ke ukuthi ke kwahanjwa nawe uma ngenwa khona lapho phakathi ke egcekeni ke kwangenwa nawe kwase kuseshwa.
Cha nkosi enkantolo lona iqiniso.
No, my lord, that's not true.
And at some stage during the conduct of that search, the said ammunition was found in your premises, in your presence.
Baqhubeka ke ngobufakazi babo bathi nkathi ke belapho besesha ukhona wena base bethola zona lezo inhlamvu lezo.
Cha nkosi enkantolo lona iqiniso lela ngangengekho nabe ejaridini babe ngishiye emotweni ngizophuma kanjani kodwa futhi ngicwele igazi ngoba abantu lapha bahlala bephithizele lokushina lapho enhlala khona.
No, my lord, I was never on the premises. I was left in the vehicle. And how would I have gotten out of the vehicle when I was feeling a cold and also bleeding? Because there are always people there. The place is always busy.
And further evidence was led in this court out that upon finding that ammunition, you were asked whether you possessed the license to possess same, and your answer was no. Then you were then arrested for possession of the said ammunition.
Qhubeka ke ubufakazi buthi ke bathi mase bethola ke noma kutholakala inhlamvu lezo wabuzwa ukuthi unayo yini ilicense ekuvumelayo ukuthi ube nazo lezo inhlamvu lezo waphendula ke wena wathi cha. Uma uthi cha ke ila uboshwe khona.
Nkosi enkantolo namanje ngiyaphinda ngithi inhlamvu akaze bangikhombise futhi awukho umbuzo ngawuthi umuntu mezofika ke mathi ndoda ngithola nakho endlini yakho ngithi vula ngibona ngangibonisi namanje inkosi enkantolo Rustenburg ngayicela ngathi ngicela inhlamvu ukuzibona akazi bayilethe inhlamvu enkantolo.
My lord, I was never shown those ammunition. I requested to be shown those ammunition, and I also requested to be brought to court, and it has never been done.
Now, after that was done, and just for clarification purposes, it's neither here nor there, Gininda stated that he never entered your yard when the search was conducted because he was outside making calls, but it's neither here nor there. Let's move on. After the said ammunition was allegedly found, where were you taken?
Sayitholakele ke inhlamvu lezo naya kuphi?
Sabela khona inkosi enkantolo police station.
We went back to the police station.
Ase Rustenburg ePhukeng.
Rustenburg in Phokeng.
What happened at Phokeng police station?
Kwenzekani lapho?
Bafika ke bangena ngaphakathi mina ngangisele emontweni.
They went inside. I remained in the vehicle.
Ngisele noMabena bona bangena ngaphakathi.
Together with Mabena. I remained with Mabena. They went in.
Now, evidence led in this court is that at Phokeng you were then placed in the cells. After that, that is, you were booked in the cells. At some stage later, you were booked out, and then you were taken to, we'll come to that destination. What is your comment?
Bathi base bekufaka ke emaselini ke lapho ePhukeng. Ila bakuthatha bakubhuka khona ke kumaseli asePhukeng.
Cha nkosi enkantolo iphutha amasela asePhukeng angikwazi nokuthi.
No, my lord, that's a mistake. I don't even know how Phokeng cells look like.
ngangihlele emotweni mina kaze ngingena ngisho ngaphakathi ePro station ngoba lento yokustupa weza nawo ke imotha ngestupe engitshela ukuthi uyangicharge ngichargele inhlamvu zesibhangi ngithi lokho ngithi ziphi ezohlamvu ngichargela zona waye ungangibonisi kanti.
I was in the vehicle, my lord. I was left in the vehicle. I never went inside because as he informed me about the ammunition, I even asked him to show me the ammunition because I never saw the ammunition.
Then from there, from Puking SAPS, were you taken somewhere else?
Uma senisuka ke manje epolice station yasePhukeng khona la abakuhambisa khona.
Mabaqeda izinto zabo bebezenza saphuma sahamba kana angiyazi iPro station lena angalala kuyo khona.
When they were done with what they were doing, we then left. I don't know the police station where I slept.
Now, evidence led with regarding to that is that you were taken from Puking, then you were booked at Primrose SAPS.
Bathi ke kufakazi babo ke bona uma besuka lapho ke basake ku police station yase Primrose.
Angeke ngiphikisane nami Nkosi enkantolo ngoba igole into engayazi kahle kahle.
I wouldn't dispute if that's what they say, my lord, because I am not that familiar with Gauteng or Johannesburg.
Now, Mohani testified that on the 21st of June 2020 he charged you, and then on the 22nd of June 2020 you were then taken to Tlhabane Court for your first appearance on the Puking possession of ammunition charge.
Ufakazi bakhe ke uMkhane uthe ngazo i21 kuJune ila asekuthwesa khona ke icala noma amacala ke mala nazo ke inhlamvu lezi kwase kuthi nge22 kuyena ke uJune ila oyobingelela khona ke imantshi inkantolo yaseTlhabane.
Nkosi enkantolo yebo ngayibona sengise Rustenburg ngoba imoto mayihamba la ngangazi ukuthi ngibona sengise Rustenburg kodwa eKatolo lapha safe sapaka khona imoto okokuqala kwakuvale ngedanger tape lapha abantu begcwele ngaphandle.
Yes, my lord, we ended up in Rustenburg. When we left here, I didn't know where we were going, but we ended up in Rustenburg. And when we arrived there, my lord, at the court, there was that tape. In other words, they had cordoned off, and there were a lot of people that were there. The place was cordoned off.
My lord, I see it's post 327. I want to broach a new aspect beginning tomorrow. Okay. Is this an opportune time?
Okay, fine.
The call that you testify about now, did you get it on the 16th of June 2020 or before then?
Locingo okhuluma ngalo ke owalithola ke uthi walithola ngazo i16 ka June noma ngaphambilini kwalokho.
Ngithole ngemuva kwe16 June, i16 June singaphambili.
Okay, it was after the 16th of June.
Okay, then proceed.
Sungaqhubeka ke.
Mangifonela lo muntu oyangifonela angitshela ukuthi uyiphoyisa laseGoli ngathi mina mawuyiphoyisa laseGoli ngicela uchintshe uprivate number ufanele ngenamba yakhe eoffice ukuze ngizobona ukuthi serious yile leli office ioffice yaseGoli iphoyisa lo ngitshela lo.
Then this person introduced himself or herself as being a police officer from Gauteng. I then said, if that is the case, then change the private number into a landline so I'll be able to see and confirm that indeed you are a police officer.
Proceed.
Yeah, bese ke engifonela ngenamba angisazi wayethi 011 angisakhumbule kahle.
Then this person contacted me with
ayibhalele ukuthi Johannesburg la.
With a 011 number, but it was written Johannesburg.
Angibuza ukuthi ngisawufuna nomsebenzi. Impendulo yami ngithi nomsebenzi okanjani lo ngoba mina ngiyasebenza.
This person then wanted to know from me, are you still looking for a job or interested in a job? I then inquired what kind of a job because I am employed.
Can I briefly stop you, Mr. Ntanzi? The person that phoned you, was it a male person or a female person?
Sikhuluma la ngomuntu wesilisa noma umuntu wesifazane lo wakufonela?
Sikhuluma ngomuntu omama.
A female person.
Proceed.
Bese ke mina ngimbuza igama lakhe uthobani. Aqala nje angafuna ukungitshela igama lakhe, ngimtshele ukuthi mina ngizokhuluma nami angangitshela igama lakho.
I then wanted to know from this person, who are you, or tell me your name. She didn't want to inform me. I then said to her that I won't speak to you if you don't want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, bese ke egcina ngitshela igama lakhe. Igama lakhe wayibiza ke ngoma mfundisi.
She ended up introducing herself, and she referred to herself as being mamfundisi.
Proceed.
Emveni kwalokho ke bese ke esho ukuthi cha kahle kahle kunecala ngifunela lona.
Thereafter, she then said to me that there was a particular matter or case that she was looking me for.
Bese ke ngimbuza futhi mina uthi mawuthi ngifunela icala uyamazi lo muntu omfonelayo lo kahle kahle noma ushawa wrong number.
I then asked her, if you are then saying that you are looking me for a particular looking for me for a with regards to a particular matter, do you know the person that you are calling, or is it just a wrong number that you dialed?
Proceed.
Bese ke engitshela ukuthi kahle kahle ucela nje ukungitshela straight iqiniso ungifunela icala leka Senzo.
She then proceeded by saying that, let me be honest with you, and said to me that I'm looking for you for with regards to Senzo's matter.
Let me stop you again, Mr. Ntanzi. That telephone call I asked you previously, was it before the incident of the 16th of June 2020, or was it after?
Lo cingo lo bengikubuzileke lo mbuzo lona ngaphambilini ke ukuthi kwenzeka lokho ngaphambi kwazo i16 noma kusemuva kwe16.
I16 zazingakafika ngathi ungifonela before ngizoya kwi16 mina ngisuka ekhaya.
So usho ukuthi ukufonela izingakashayi i16.
Zingakashaya.
It was before the 16th.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that point. Then what happened next?
Kwase kwenzekani ke emva kwalokho?
Wase ngibuza ukuthi ngikuphi nendawo eRustenburg.
She then wanted to know from me where precisely I was in Rustenburg.
Ngamtshela ke mina ngihlala eFreedom Park.
I informed her that I was staying in Freedom Park,
Phase 2.
Phase 2.
And what happened after that call?
Emva kwalelo cingo ke kwase kwenzekani?
Ngahlala nje, ngayihlalela.
I just
ngangilinde kuya ku medical kahle kahle ngoba ngangibuye emalangeni la eCorona.
Okay, I just sat around there or sat there because I was expecting to go to medicals because I was just coming from, it refers to it as being Corona days. Uma uthe emalangeni kahle kahle uthi wabuya kuphi? Uma uthi wabuya emalangeni eCorona?
Angathi sikade sivaliwe
Yes,
emsebenzini.
yeah, oh, okay.
Sikuthiwa akusasetshenzwa indaba
Okay.
yeCorona.
It was just after we had been requested not to come to work because of COVID.
Now I want to take you and direct your attention to the events of the 16th of June 2020. Do you recall the incidents that happened on that day?
Ngizokuthatha ke manje ngikusekulona ke leli langa langa i16 zika June 2020. Uyakhumbula okwenzeka ngaleli langa langa i16 zika June?
Yebo.
Yes.
What happened?
Kwenzekani?
Ngangilele endlini kwenokha abantu abayi2.
I was sleeping at home and two people knocked.
Obhuti nje abayi2.
Two gentlemen.
Let's clarify this. When you say you were sleeping at home, where is home?
Uma uthi ke walele endlini kuphi endlini?
Ngangilele lapha engirenta khona eRustenburg.
Where I was
Freedom Park Phase 2.
renting in Rustenburg, Freedom Park in Phase 2.
Do you know the address of that residence where you stayed in
Ikheli
June
la
2020?
ikheli la khona lapho uyalazi?
Angisakhumbula masenginesikhathi.
I can't remember it. It's been a while.
Then what happened as the two males knocked at your residence?
Uma ke laba bhuti laba babili ke benqonqoza ke kwase kwenzekani?
Ngisukumile ngavula eminyango.
I stood up and I opened the door.
Then what happened?
Kwase kwenzekani?
Mabe ngena endlini kwangena obhuti abayi2.
Yebo.
Bangibingelela ngavula.
Two gentlemen came in up when I opened. They greeted and I responded.
Proceed.
Omunye wasethi hayi sifuna wena Siyanda.
And then one of them said, "We are looking for you, Siyanda."
Bese ngimbuza ke mina ngithi why ungibiza ngoSiyanda mina ngisuka Siyanda mina.
I then asked this gentleman, "Why are you referring to me as Siyanda? Because I am not Siyanda."
Let me stop you for clarity. The two gentlemen that knock at your door, you open for them and they say, "We are looking for you." Did they identify themselves to you?
Laba babili ke abanqonqoza wabavule wasukuma wabavulela bangena babingelela ingaba bazethula yini noma basho ukuthi bawobani kuwena?
Bazethule kimi sesiphandle sesiphandle la ngoba bathi bacela ukukhuluma nami phandle.
They introduced themselves when we were outside because they requested me that we have a chat outside.
And outside, we'll come back to in the house. Outside, who did they introduce themselves as?
Uma bezethula ke bathi bangobani.
Bathi bangamaphoyisa abayinjeyanga igama street lakhe wathi uyiphoyisa.
They introduced themselves as police officers. He did not tell me his name, but just said he's a police officer.
And now, one of them says, we are looking for you. What's the name that he said, Sianda?
But Sianda, what is Sianda? Ngit? Yes.
And because your name is not Sianda, what was your response?
Nanjengoba ke kamala usho ukuthi ngoba angisiyana uSiyanda. Why wathini ke wena uma ethi wena kuyena Siyanda? Wathini wena uma uphendula?
Ngamtshela ngathi mina ngiseyo uSiyanda. Ubani omtshela ukuthi ngosiyanda wathena ngilethe ID ufuna ukuconfirma ngeID.
I informed him that I am not Siyanda. Who told you that I am Siyanda? Then he requested me to bring my identity document as confirmation.
Proceed.
Ngase ngithi nami ukuze ngune ID le ngicela ukubona na uthi uyiphoyisa ungikhiphele lokho zakho uthi uyiphoyisa ngizobona.
I also made a request that now that seeing that now you are requesting my ID as confirmation, give me your confirmation as well so that I can see that you are indeed a police officer.
And did that gentleman produce his appointment card, or both of them produced identification cards?
Uma ufumcela ukuthi akuboniseke wakwenza lokho yena.
Wakwenza yedwa lo wena omzimba.
Yes,
ongangikhombisanga lo omunye nomzimba lo okahle nje.
The one that was well built did produce it, but the other one who was just with a different build to the other one did not do it.
And then how did you know him as once he produced that appointment card?
Uthe uma sekutshengisa ke icard lakhe ke lokuthi uyiphoyisa ke wabona ukuthi ubani. Or noma wathola ukuthi ubani. Noma wakutshela igama lakhe.
Identification card.
Wagcina yena ekhuluma yena ukuthi ngoba la gama labhalwe lapha lenhlolo ukufunda.
He ended up telling me who his name was because it was difficult. Because it was difficult for me to read the name that was written there. I could see just the head or the face, but he then told me who he was.
What did he tell you his name was?
What ubani?
Sergeant
Mukhane.
Okay, then proceed with what transpired.
I
was then informed by Sergeant Mukhane that my colleague here is Sergeant Mabena.
Proceed then, what transpired?
Thereafter, they then wanted they wanted to know where my phone was. I gave them my phone, I2.
And the phones that you gave them, do you still remember the models of those phones?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I said, I thought maybe the witness was referring to a brand, but he was saying that I gave them 2 of my phones.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you recall the models of those phones that you handed over to the 2 police officers?
Lama phone amabili owabanikeza wona ke ingabe uyawakhumbula yini amagama awo ukuthi kwakuyimaphi ama phone?
Yeah.
Yes.
What were they?
Always Samsung J5.
Samsung J5.
And the other one?
Lenenye lencane ngawo kwakungiyasisa ngoba ngangiyifaka discipline ngalama headsets phone amancane ngawo.
The other one was a small phone. It was my sister's phone because I was going to have it to have a screen put on that phone. A small one of those small phones. I'm not sure whether it's a Hisense.
And what did the officer that you handed the phone to do with those phones?
Lona ke owamnikeza amafoni wase enzani ke ngalawo amafoni owamnikeza wona?
Ngamnika wawabuka wawaphatha wase yena khipha ifoni yakhe ekhwethini efonela lo muntu amfonela ngabona futhi sekuringa ifoni yami asikhathi ke sethi ke hamba ogqoka ndoda sifona wena samba nawo.
Looked at the phones, took out his phone, made a call, and then a call came through my phone. That's when he then said to me, go and get dressed. We are looking for you.
And roughly what time did these police officers arrive at your place?
Nkathi befika la uhlala khona kwakubani isikhathi?
Wawusebusuku ngoba phela ilanga belishosha lishona lezo nsuku lesikhathi angisasikhumbuli ngoba bewusebusika kubanda.
It was at night, and I'm not saying about the time because it was sunset was very early during those times because it was during the winter.
And at the time the police officers came to your residence, were you by yourself or in the company of somebody else?
Nkathi amaphoyisa efika lapha kwakho kwakuwena nje uwedwa noma ukhona umuntu owawunaye?
Ukhona umuntu anginaye.
I was in the company of someone else.
And who was that person?
Kwakubani? Lebuhile.
Phethane isibongo sakhe.
His surname is Phethane.
And what was the nature of your relationship with that person?
Nanihlanganiswa yini noLebuhile?
Sasithandana.
We were in a love relationship.
Now proceed from where you say they told you, the police officers told you to dress up because they were looking for you. What then transpired after that?
Ushilo ukuthi basebethi ke noma ethi omunye ke hamba ogqoka sifuna wena kwase kwenzekani ke emuva kwalokho?
Ngihambile ngayogqoka mangibuya ngagqoka nje impahla zami nejacket mangibuya base bengifasa ngama handcuff ngifasa usayitsheni lo ethenga umkhana.
I then went to get dressed, came back, just wore my clothes as well as a jacket. When I came back, I was handcuffed by Sergeant Mukhane.
Mangilokhu ke ngibabuza mina ukuthi okokuqala nengibiza ngegama ongesilonela ngiphinde ngithatha ifoni athi ifoni yami lo nto le ibizwa ngokuthiwa yini lona komunye lo wasethi ngababuza amasimba ngathi mina ngikuza ukuthi uthini wase ngishaya ngempama lo omzimba omncane.
I kept on asking as to how is it or what is it that's happening. Firstly, you referred to me by an incorrect name, took my phones, answered my phone, and so what is it? And then the other one, that is now the one that is referred to as Mabena, then said to me that I should not ask them nonsense, but that's not the word the witness used. I think everyone heard the word. And he then smacked me.
Somewhere else they didn't hear the word in the SCA, for instance.
My lord?
I said the SCA they didn't hear the word.
Okay. Said don't ask me shit.
Yes.
And where did he slap you, Mabena?
Wakushaya kuphi Mabena?
Ongishaya ngempama ngoba izandla zayifaswe so.
The witness is pointing to his left side of his face and indicating he hit me here because my hands were tied like this, referring, showing to the back, to his back.
And after that, what transpired?
Kwase kwenzekani emuva kwalokho?
Ngangena ke emotweni eFortuna lebehamba ngayo emhlophe.
I got into the vehicle that they were traveling in, a white Fortuner.
Where in that Fortuna did the policeman place you?
Bakuhlalisa kuphi nendawo kuleyo Fortuner leyo?
Ngangena ngasemveni kwakho Mabena kosenkantolo.
As I came in, I sat behind Mabena.
And that motor vehicle, was it a marked police vehicle or a plain unmarked police vehicle?
Kwakuyimoto ebhaliwe yini oyibonayo ukuthi imoto yamaphoyisa noma yayingabhaliwe?
Ayengabhale ukuthi imoto ngabona ngoblue light sengingaphakathi.
It was unmarked. I only noticed the blue light when I was inside the vehicle.
Now, before you got into the car, did those police officers, Mohani and Mabena, whilst you were still at your residence, either inside the house or outside the house, did they confront you with some sort of evidence about what they were looking for you for?
Nkathi ke nise lapha yana ningekayongena emotweni noma naningaphandle endlini noma niphakathi ke kukhona yini ubufakazi abathi naku esinako ngakuwena ke ingakho sikufuna nje ngoba sinalokho ngakuwena khona ubufakazi ababethi banabo ingakho bekufuna nje?
Wangikhombisa isithombe kosenkantolo.
Pointed out a picture or a photo to me.
Was it a physical photo or was that photo shown to you from a device?
Isithombe lesi ukubonisa isithombe mhlambe usibonisa sisephepheni noma ukubonisa isithombe sise efonini?
Sasisefonini.
From a device, a phone.
And can you describe the photo that was displayed to you?
Ungasichaza lesithombe lesi owasitshengisa? Ungasisho ukuthi kusichaza ukuthi kwakuyisithombe sikanjani?
Lapha enkantolo angasibona.
I haven't sorry, qhubeka.
angikasiboni lapha enkantolo esengangisikhombisa ngomhana.
The one that was pointed out to me by Mukhane, I haven't yet seen it here in court.
Describe that photograph.
Awusichaze.
Kwawumuntu wayegqoke iskipa somkhono emide.
It was a person that was wearing a long sleeve shirt or t-shirt.
Ngoba kwakuzithombe ezide wayegqoka iskipa eside engaveli ngapha singezansi.
Ngoba kwakuyithombe ingake?
Kwakuzithombe entathu.
Because there were 3 pictures. You could see that this person is wearing a long sleeve t-shirt, but you could not see the bottom part. Yebo?
Iskipa nje ngathi lesikipa zama dice lezi engalentole lapha esifubeni.
This what you would refer to in the township refers to as being the dice, but it has the diamond shape.
And the third photo?
Esesithathu?
Esinye sasingavezi ubuso bonke. Sasiveza amazinyo kuphela.
The other picture did not portray the whole face. It was only the teeth that one could see, but not the entire face.
Thanks, Milo.
Yes.
Just to track back a bit, when the police officer said to you, now dress up, we are looking for you, did they tell you the case or anything that they were looking for you for?
Uma bethi ke hamba ogqoka sifuna wena bakutshela yini ngecala noma yini kahle kahle le ababekufunela yona?
Wayeseshilo ke umuntu ngifunela ecala lasenzo.
He had already said to me or indicated to me that they were looking for me with regard to Senzo's matter.
Now, Constable Mohane has testified in this court, and he testified that when he arrested you on the 16th of June 2020, he specifically told you that they were arresting you on Nongoma case 186 of 10 of 2018. I'm sorry, it's 163 of 10 2020, the Nongoma case, it's a murder case. Did he tell you that?
Usergeant Mukhane nkathi ethula ubufakazi bakhe la enkantolo abakusho ke kule nkantolo ukuthi washo kuwena ukuthi ukubophela icala u163 ka10 2020 icala lakwaNongoma.
Ayi, Nkosi enkantolo kongiqala ukuzwa ngaye mayefika la.
I heard that for the very first time from him when he arrived here, my lord.
Now, when the 2 officers arrived at your place and they've now identified themselves as police officers and now they are going to arrest you for a particular murder case, did they warn you of your constitutional rights?
Manje ke kunalamaphoyisa amabili angenile futhi ke manje sebeyakubopha ke ingaba bachazela yini noma bakwexwayisa yini ngamalungelo onawo ngokomthetho sisekelo?
Angikhumbuli.
I can't recall.
For example, did Mabena or Mohane advise you that you've got the right to remain silent?
Umabhena no Mukhane basho yini kuwena ukuthi unelungelo lokuthi uthule ungasho lutho?
Nkosi enkantolo angikhumbuli ngoba umkhane mina sasingezwana ngelanguage la ekhuluma. Umuntu angangicishe ngimuzwa kancane lo munye lo ngoba wagcina ngitshela emveni kwesikhathi ukuthi ungumndebele. Angisizwe ilanguage ekhuluma ukuthi ngiyahambiselana nesiZulu.
My lord, I do not remember because there was this language barrier between myself and Mukhane. We couldn't understand each other. The person that I could at least, not completely, my lord, understand was the other person because he ended up telling me that he was Ndebele, which was a bit closer to isiZulu.
Yeah, but let's continue regarding the rights specifically. Did he also warn you that you've got a right not to say anything to them and yes.
This witness, your witness, twice, he says, I can't remember.
That's fine.
I can't remember.
All right. And you've testified now that for the first time you hear that you were wanted on a Nongoma case was here in court when Mohane testified, correct?
Usushilo ke ukuthi inkathi kuzokuqala ke mayelana necala la kwaNongoma ukuzwela enkantolo nkathi uMukhane ethula ubufakazi.
Yebo Nkosi enkantolo.
That's correct, my lord.
Now, as they take you, the police officers, did they tell Kilebogile, your partner, where were they taking you?
Nkathi bekuthatha ke behamba nawe basho yini kuLebuhile ukuthi bakusa kuphi?
Akaze bamtshene nix.
They never told her anything.
Did they leave their contacts so that she can then phone and know your whereabouts?
Ingabe bashiya yini amanamba abo ukuze ukuthi ke abafonele uma azi ukuthi ukuphi nendawo?
Cha, akazabawashiya amanamba.
No, they never left their contacts.
Now I want to proceed, you to proceed from the stage when you were placed in a car. Where were you taken?
Ngifuna ke manje uqhubekeke kusuka kulesikhathi ke ufakwa ke manje emotweni noma ke ungena emotweni bakuthatha bakusakuphi?
Bangithatha ngangena emotweni sahamba saye e-Pro station le yasePhukeng.
From there we proceeded to the Phukeng police station.
Kodwa masamba lapha endleleni
Sorry,
wayelokho
let me
engibuza
cut you.
uMabhene imibuzo.
Let me cut you, sorry for that. Why was it necessary for them to take you to Phukeng SAPS?
Kwakuyini kwakungani bekusa noma behamba nawo beya nawo epolice station yasePhukeng?
Babehamba namaphoyisa lana khona kodwa wena wangenanga lapha endlini nami nasejardini aye nje emgwaqeni la.
They were in the company of police officers, but those police officers did not get into the premises where I was staying. They were just standing on the road.
And those police officers, were they, do you know the station where they emanated from?
Lawo maphoyisa lawo ngabe uyazi yini ukuthi babebuya kwesiphi station ngamagama ukuthi babesebenzela kuphi?
Ngabona imoto ebhala umbhalo khona ePhukeng.
I saw vehicles that were written Phukeng,
Ngoba na imoto mayisuka eFreedom Park zaya straight khona.
because even when the cars left Freedom Park, they went straight there.
So let's clarify this. On the 16th of June 2020, the cars that arrived at your place was the Toyota Fortuner, and there were other marked cars from Phukeng SAPS, correct?
Asichaze nje lokhu kucaceke noma kuzwakaleke ukuthi uthi imoto ezazikhona lapha yana kwakho noma lapho ohlala khona kwakuyile Fortuner kanye nezinye imoto ezayibhaliwe owabona ukuthi zibhalwe Phukeng.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you are in the motor vehicle being transported, and you were about to explain where you were transported, but first this one. How were you handcuffed then in that car?
Emotweni ke manje phakathi ke wawufaswe kanjani?
Ngihleli so izifaswe ngemuva izandla.
I was seated like this, the witness his hands being at the back. My hands were behind me.
You can proceed from then.
Usungaqhubeka ke.
Sihambile ke saze safika masamba lapha ngemoto endleleni uMabhene lokho engibuza ukuthi ngangekuphi kushona uSenzo.
We proceeded, but as we were traveling, Mabena kept on asking me where I was when Senzo passed on.
What was your response?
Wathini umuphendula?
Ngathi mina angikuzi ukuthi uthini. Lento ngibuza ngoba okokuqale usungishayela ngithi usangibini osangibuzayo ngoba phela uthi uzongibopha ngithi uza nento wena ozana uthi uzongibopha, so anginayo impendulo ngoba ngeke ngikhumbule ukuthi ngangi
Wenza lento kuyicela ukuthi ungayenzi ne? Yeah. Okay. Asiqale phansi uthini?
ngithi mina ngamphendula Nkosi enkantolo ukuthi angeke ngikwazi ukuphendula.
I then responded to him by saying,
Ngoba-
I won't be able to answer you because
Ngoba usungibeka isandla.
you have already assaulted me.
Okunye uze lapha ke umuntu uzongibopha ngibophele icala malo uyaphinda ngibuza imibuzo futhi.
And secondly, you came to me and said to me that you are here to arrest me for a matter, but still you are asking me questions.
Athuleke bese sihamba sesingene khona ePhukeng phakathi ePro station.
He then kept quiet and then we drove into the police station in Phukeng.
What specifically happened at Phukeng SAPS?
Khona ke lapho ePhukeng le kwenzekani yini eyenzeka epolice station lasePhukeng?
Ngahlala emotweni naye lo Mabhena umkhani waphuma wangena ngaphakathi yena.
I remained in the vehicle with Mabena and Mukhane went inside.
Proceed further.
Qhubeka.
Emveni ngalokho ke ngabona esedumisa ese reverse imoto esiphuma hamba.
Thereafter, I then saw him then switching the ignition on and then the vehicle left.
Proceed further.
Qhubeka.
Yeza ke imoto yaze yafika lapho engazi khona le Pro station la angangayazi.
Mautia la kuphi.
La ePitori.
Okay. The vehicle then proceeded to this unknown police station here in Pretoria.
And later on, during the course of your incarceration, did you learn the name of that police station?
Kamuva ke sewulapho ke kule police station ngabe wase ulazi ke igama lalo police station le.
Cha ngilazi emveni kwesikhathi kosenkantolo.
It was only after a while that I got to know about it.
And what was the name of the police station?
La kwakuyini igama layo? The police station.
Emveni kwesikhathi.
Musuyazi wathola ukuthi yini igama layo police station le.
Pretoria Mode.
Pretoria Mode.
North.
No, not on Mode angazi I'm sure la.
Moot, M-O-O-T. Moot in English, M-O-A-T.
If I may clarify, evidence has been led in this court by Mohane, Mohola, and others that on the 16th of June 2020, you were booked at Pretoria North SAPS. Would you recall that?
Sekunobufakazi ke obethulweke kule nkantolo ke Mohane kanye nabanye ukuthi ngazo i16 zika June lezo 2020 ipolice station abayokufaka kuyona ke noma bayokubhuka kuyona ke kwakuyi Pretoria North.
Would you agree with that? That's the police station that you were booked at. You
Ungavuma.
wouldn't dispute that.
Ngavuma noma ungakuphikisa lokho. Bona bathi Pretoria North.
Police station ngangakayazi kwami.
I wouldn't dispute it because I myself I didn't know the name of the police station.
Now, let's go to the events of the 17th of June 2020 at Pretoria North Police Station where you woke up on the morning of the 17th. Do you recall that date?
Asindluleke manje siye kwilanga elilandelayo ke lazo 17 zika June 2020 ila owavuka ke manje uvuka kuleyo police station leyo uyalikhumbula lelo langa lelo?
Yeah, what was the 17th?
Yes, it was the 17th.
Could you explain to the court what transpired on that date?
Ngayichazela ke inkantolo ukuthi kwenzekani ngalelo langa.
Yebo, kosenkantolo nge 17 kwaqala kwafika umuntu oyiwana ephethe camera ehamba nomhana.
My lord, there was a person that arrived. That person was in possession of a camera and accompanied by Mohane.
Proceed.
Yebo.
Umhana nguye wangivulela iseleni phakathi.
Mohane is the one who opened the cell for me.
Proceed.
Yep.
Ngamanje la kune passage lapha. Wase lo muntu lo athi angime straight ngithatha ithombe.
I just stood in, there was a passage there, I stood there. That person then instructed me to stand up straight and took photos of me.
Proceed.
Waphinda athi angikumule nepahla ngithatha ithombe ufuna ukubona umzimba la ngaphezulu.
Also instructed me to undress or take off my clothes, the my upper clothes, as well as to see my body.
Waphinda athi angikumule neqathula.
Also instructed me to take off my shoes.
Proceed further.
Yeah.
Base bengiphinda bengibuyisele eseleni ngaleso sikhathi leso.
And at that time they then took me back to the cells.
And did anything again happen later on the 17th at the
Waphinda wabuya kosenkantolo nomhane no eseza no nephoyisa lebengilandana neRustenburg uSergeant Mapena.
Mohane came back, my lord, together with the police officer that he was traveling with in Rustenburg, that is Mapena.
Bafika bangivulela futhi base bengicover lapha ama handcuff.
They opened up for me and then they placed handcuffs on me.
And where did they take you?
Baya kuphi now?
Kwahamba umhani phambili Mapena ngemuva ngilandela umhani.
Mohane was in front, Mapena was behind, and I was instructed to follow Mohane.
And where did they take you?
Naya kuphi?
Safe nje sangena kwenye nje indawo nje nespace eyayinetafula so.
We just got into this spacious place that had a table. Yebo.
Mangifika khona kosenkantolo ngafika kugcwele abantu abaningi.
On my arrival there, I found a lot of people.
And when you arrived at that place, evidence has been led in court that on the 17th by Mohane Mohola that you were taken to a boardroom where you were asked questions or interrogated. Are you talking about the same incident?
Kubufakazi ke obethule phambi kwalenkantolo ke bathi bakuthatha bakusa kuyovisi elithize ke la owabuzwa khona ke imibuzo. Ngabe kusho lokho?
Yebo bangisi kodwa bangangabuzwa yebo imibuzo.
Yes, I was taken there, but they are not the ones who were asking me questions.
Okay. And further, you testify now that there were several people, were those people police officers as well?
Nanjengoba uthi wafica kunabantu abaningi, labo bantu labo wabafica lapho kwakwamaphoyisa nabo.
Angazi uma kwamaphoyisa azange bangitshela futhi ayikho into abangikhombisa yona Nkosi enkantolo.
I am not aware whether they were police because they never informed me and there's nothing that I was shown.
Uyiwani umuntu wagcina ekhuluma nami engitshela ukuthi ubani.
There's only one person who ended up, who spoke to me, ended up telling me who that person was, or who he or she was.
And who was that person?
Kwakubani loyo muntu loyo?
Ubaba uGininda.
Mr. Gininda.
And please proceed further.
Qhubeka ke.
Utheke mase ngichazela uGininda ukuthi yena uBrother Gininda wathi mangikhiphe imask.
When he introduced himself that he was Brigadier Gininda, he then told me to remove my mask.
And I waseyikhipha ngoba ngambona straight yena. Ayikhiphile imask.
He also removed his, and then I could see him clearly after he had removed his mask.
And what transpired?
Kwasekwenzekani?
Emveni ngalokho Nkosi enkantolo wayesengibuza ukuthi ngangikuphi ngo-October.
Thereafter, he then asked me where I was in October.
And what was your response there too?
Yathini impendulo yakho kulokho?
Ngathi mina angisakhumbuli ukuthi ngangikuphi ngoba ngiyasebenza futhi ngumuntu othanda nokuya ekhaya.
I then said that I can't remember as to where I was because I am employed and I also like to go home.
Let me clarify this. When he asked you, where were you in October? Did he specify the date and the year of that October?
Uma ekubuza ukuthi wawukuphi ngo-October, ngabe unyaka wawuchaza kanye ne-date wayichaza?
Wayichaza yizo sengasakhumbula uma thi 27 or 26 angisakhumbule kahle.
He mentioned it, although I just can't remember whether he said the 26 or the 27. I can't remember well.
And you testify now then that you gave an answer that you've just proffered now. What then transpired?
Uthi ke emuva kokuthi usumphendulileke kwasekwenzekani?
Mase ngiphendula ukuthi angisakhumbuleka wasethi ke kimi ucela ukubona umzimba wami. Ngoba ngangigqoka ijacket nje nomkhono emide neskipa seFabian ngaphansi asiyelo.
He then requested me, after I had answered him, to take off my clothes. He would like to see my body because I was wearing a jacket and as well as a yellow Fabiani t-shirt underneath.
Let's stop it there. I want to ask you several clarification questions. The several people that you referred to as being there in the boardroom, how many were there?
Labantu okhuluma ngako nanjengoba usho ukuthi wafica kunabantu abaningi. Babe bangaki?
Angibakhontanga Nkosi enkantolo ngoba abantu babe baningi ngoba izitulo etafula so babegcwele so.
I didn't count them, my lord, because there were many of them, as well as the chairs were right around the table.
The reason I ask you that is that evidence has been led in this court to say the people that were in that board meeting was firstly Mabena, Mohani, and Mhula testified that she joined them towards the latter part of the meeting and that Gininda was not there. What is your comment?
Imbangela ke ukuthi ngikubuze lokho ngoba ubufakazi obethuliwe phambi kwalenkantolo ukuthi abantu ababekhona lapho kwakuMabena, uMukhani, waze uMukhula wase ezoba ingxenye kamuva ke yaloyo mhlangano loyo. Kodwa ke kubufakazi babo bashilo bathi uGininda wayengekho lapho. Uthini wena kulokho?
Wayekhona Nkosi enkantolo akulona iqiniso ukuthi wayengekho.
He was there, my lord. It's not true that he wasn't there.
Now, I've clarified that you are at a stage where you are requested to take off your clothes now for the second time that day. Who requested you to do that?
Uthi ke kwasucelwa ukuthi ukhumuleke lo impahla wawuyigqokile ukuthi ubani owacela lokho?
Moyo baba lo Gininda.
It's Mr. Gininda.
And proceed further.
Qhubeka.
So, from my understanding, when you say he said you must take off your clothes, you mean all your clothes? Being stuck naked or what?
Ukuzwisisa nje kahle ke uma uthi ke wacela ukuthi ukhumuleke wathi ukhumule konke wawugqokile ube nqunu nje noma wathi ukhumuleni?
Cha Nkosi enkantolo ngakhipha lokhu kwangaphezulu kuphela
Only-
ngasheka ngebhuluka.
Only the upper
Yeah,
part clothes, that which I was wearing on my upper body, my lord, as well as the shoes.
Then what transpired after you took your clothes off?
Kwasekuthini-ke emuva kokuthi ukhumulile?
Kwaseke uMabhena waqala wasumabhena weza ke Nkosi enkantolo engibuka la. Wase ngibuza uMabhena ukuthi akaze ngwenze namathathu futhi angaze ngiboshwe yini.
Then Mabena stood up, approached me, and he looked at me, these parts, the witness pointing to the upper arms, both sides, and asked me, have you ever made tattoos and have you ever been arrested?
What was your response there to?
Wathini muphendula?
Ngathi mina ngiyaqala ukuboshiwa angizange ngiboshwe.
I said to him that it's the very first time that I'm being arrested. I've never been arrested.
And about the tattoos, had you had tattoos before?
Wasuthini-ke ngamathathu?
Ngathi angizange bene tattoo mina.
I said I've never had tattoo.
Then proceed further.
Qhubeka-ke.
Phinde wathi mangiphinde ngikhamisa umlomo ngawukhamisa umlomo.
He also asked me or requested me to open up my mouth, which I did.
Engibuka ngamehlo so yona yena uMabhena Nkosi enkantolo.
And Mabena himself was looking at me, my lord, with his eyes.
Wasephinda engibuza ukuthi ngangalifaka ni igolide ngamtshela ngathi cha.
He also wanted to know or asked me, have I ever had a gold tooth? I said no.
Let me stop here. Now, in the boardroom, from the time you enter to the time when you are made to do all of those things, take off half-waist your clothes, open your mouth, let me check your tattoos. Did anyone explain your constitutional rights to you?
Nikulelo kamera lelo ke nkathi ungena lapho zenziwa zonke lezi zinto oyibalayo ukuthi ukhamise ukhumula icathulo owugqokile la ngaphezulu ukhona nje umuntu wachazela ke ukuthi mayela namalungelo akho onawo.
Ayangikhumbuli mina ngoba umuntu mayezongena kimi ethi mina igama lami nguBrakati Gininda ebese ngibuza umbuthi ngangingokuphelanga liso ayangikhumbula ngitshela ngamalungelo.
No, I don't remember, my lord, because when someone comes to me, then introduces himself as being Brigadier Gininda, then asks me where I was on a particular day, I then don't remember being asked about or being warned about rights.
And let's clarify this for purposes of the future. Did he say I'm Brigadier Gininda or I'm Gininda? Because his title by then was not Brigadier.
Asikulungiseke lokho ukuthi wathi kuyena engabe yena wathi kuwena ngiuGininda noma ngiuBrigadier Gininda ngoba ngaleso sikhathi leso wayengekabi uyena uBrigadier. So ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi wathini uma eyichaza kuwena.
Angisakhumbuli noma wathi bangikhona igama libizayo vele ngangimashine igama lesibongo sakhe mina Nkosi enkantolo.
I can't remember, my lord, but there is a name that he mentioned, my lord. But he mentioned his surname.
Okay. Now, regarding the taking off of the clothes, Mohane and Mohola have testified in this court and have denied the allegation that you were made to take off your clothes.
Mayelana ke naloko kushoyo ukuthi bakhumulisa ke owugqokile umkhanya kanye naye umuhula kuyona lenkantolo nkathi bethula ubufakazi babo ke bakuphikile ukuthi bona bathi kuwena khumula impahla.
Akusho ngobona vele ngikhompetha washo uGininda ukuthi angikhumele impahla ngoba izithombe ngayithathwa ngefoni ezithombe lezi zomzimba ngaphezulu ibhoda ngaphezulu.
They are not the ones who instructed me to take off my clothes. It was Gininda who instructed me to take off my clothes, and a phone was used to take photos of me.
Now, let's clarify this. You are asked to remove your clothes. They inspect you for whatever they're inspecting you for. You are asked to open your mouth cavity for the reasons that they said. Was there anything else that was asked of you regarding your appearance in 2014?
Ngaphandle kwaleso soyishilo ke ukhunyuliswa ukhamisiswa khona okunye abakwenzisa kona.
Wangithatha zona nje ithombe vele lokho ke wasetha uzobuyeze kimi.
I took photos of me thereafter. He told me that he would come back to me.
Ngase ngihamba bengibuyisela emaseleni phakathi.
I then left and they took me back inside the cells.
Before you go on, did anyone in that meeting ask you about the type of hairstyle that you had in 2014?
Ukhona yini kulabo owakubuza mayelana ke ukuthi ngo2014 inywele zakho zazi kanjani noma ihairstyle owawunayo ngo2014 ukhona kubona wakubuza ngehairstyle owawunayo
lokho ngakubuza uGininda la ngibuza ngedread ngangaba nedread ngathi cha.
That was asked to me by Gininda whether I'd had dreadlocks. I then said no.
And was anything asked of you about your occupation? What were you doing in 2020?
Ingabe khona yini
I mean in
owakubuzwa
2014, I'm sorry.
owakubuzwa ukuthi umsebenzi owawenza noma usebenza phi noma wenza umsebenzi onjani ngo2014?
Akazange ngibuza uGininda nje bengenza umsebenzi umono wayengibuza yena kuphela ukuthi ngangikuphi ngedate so ngoba yena wayengibuza ukuthi mina ngihlala kuphi eFosolwazi ngithi mina Nkosi enkantolo ngihlala eFosolwazi.
He never asked me that question because what Gininda was asking me where I was on a particular date, and he also wanted to know where I was staying in Fosolwazi, and I said that I'm not staying in Fosolwazi.
eFosolwazi ngiyangogidingo.
I only go to Fosolwazi when we have to perform, whether we are singing, we are dancing.
And the police officers, in regard to the so-called Senzo case, did they ask you about certain individuals?
Can you repeat that answer?
Regarding the arrest on the Senzo in that boardroom, was he asked about if he knew certain individuals?
Nkathi ke bekhuluma nawe laphayana ne bekubuza ke mayelana lecala leli lika Senzo ingaba bakhona abantu abathize yini abakubuza ngabo
Kulaba bephakathi abanye.
kulaba
Babehleli khona la phakathi.
abona njengoba bekhuluma nawe nje
Yeah.
angithi bakubuza ukuthi wawukuphi ngelanga elithize kanye wawukuphi kathi uSenzo eshona ingaba kunabantu nyabakubuza ukuthi uyamazi ubani ubuza leyo nto ukuthi bakhona yini abantu ababekubuza ngabo ukuthi uyabazi yini umuntu othize uyamazi umuntu othize uyamazi.
Awengakangibuzi lapho ngibuza emveni kwesikhathi.
No, he didn't ask me that. He asked me that after some time.
Now, both Mohani and Mohola have testified that when you were asked about your whereabouts on the 26th of October 2014, you said that you were at work. What is your comment?
Bobabili ke umukhane kanye naye umukhula bathe uma bethula ubufakazi babo kulenkantolo ukuthi uma ubuzwa ukuthi wawukuphi ngazo i26 zika October 2014 wena ke wathi umbaphendula ukuthi wawusemsebenzini.
Cha Nkosi enkantolo ngathi mina angisakhumbuli.
No.
Ukuthi ngangikupha ngangisemsebenzini ngoba ngangisekhaya.
No, my Lord, I said I cannot recall or cannot remember. I don't know whether I was at work or I was home.
And by home, what do you mean?
Uma utekhaya usho
Ekhaya eNatal kwaNongoma.
home in Natal, Nongoma.
And at that meeting, did you inform Mohani that you are willing to take the police to your workplace in Carltonville?
Kulowo mhlangano loyo washo yini kumukhanya ukuthi wena kuyimisele ukuthi ungawathatha amaphoyisa uye nawe emsebenzini eCarltonville?
Angikaze ngisho lapho Nkosi enkantolo.
I'm not-
Uye kuphela wangivulela wathi ngingene emotweni ngayibona imoto isifika lapha engangisebenza khona ethi angikhomba ukuthi ngangisebenza kuyiphi shaft la.
I never said that, my Lord. I was just placed in the vehicle. I saw the vehicle driving, and the vehicle drove to my workplace. He then told me to point which shaft I was working in.
Now, at the conclusion of the meeting in the boardroom, what then transpired?
Seqedwa ke manje noma lowo mhlangano sowuphela ke manje kwasekwenzekani ke uma sebeqeda ke ngayo konke lokho abakwenzeka lapho kwasekwenzekani?
Maqedwe umhlangano lo ngoba uGininda wayelokho ethi angifuni ukukhuluma iqiniso kuwe ngimbuze ukuthi iqiniso lephi engizolikhuluma.
When that meeting ended or finished, my Lord, because Gininda kept on saying that I don't want to tell the truth, and I was asking him which truth must I tell? Yeah.
And contextually, when he says you don't want to speak the truth, what was he referring to?
Uma esho wayekhuluma ngani? Sikhuluma ngoGininda ke manje. Uma ethi ke wena ke awufuni ukukhuluma iqiniso, wayekhuluma ngani?
Wayekhuluma ngecala la ngibophelelo nelengilapha Nkosi enkantolo.
He was referring to the matter that he had arrested me for, the matter that I'm appearing in court for right now.
And what were your responses to his questions regarding your whereabouts and your knowledge?
Wasuthini ke kuwena mayelana ukuthi wawukuphi kanye nolwazi lwakho wathini wena uma umphendula kulokho?
Mina ngamtshela ngathi angazi lutho Nkosi enkantolo.
I told him that I knew nothing, my lord.
And then now the meeting in the boardroom concludes. What then happens to you? What transpires?
Kwase kuqediwe ke manje lana ke kulomhlangano la enhlezi khona kwase kwenzekani?
Mase siqedile ukungibuza imibuzo khona elokhuza ayesiphethe isithombe.
When we had finished asking me questions, there is a photo that he had. Yebo.
Proceed further.
Yebo.
Ma lezithombe mayibekala uyangibuza ukuthi ubani lo ngithi mina hayi angabathi angibazi la.
It's actually photos, my lord. And he placed these photos right here in front of him. He would then point, who is this, who's this, and who is this? I would then say, no, I don't know these people.
And then what transpired?
Kwase kwenzekani?
Mangithi angibazi wase ngibuza ngesinye sasingale ngemuva athi ubani lo ngathi lo muntu angimazi mina ethi wena nguwelo ngithi akusisi isithombe sami lo muntu angimazi lo.
When I then answered and said, I don't know these people, then he pointed to a photo that was at the back and said, who is this person? I said, I don't know this person. He then said, no, this is you. I said, no, this is not me. I don't know this person.
Yes, if I may refer as for photo, I think it's photo 47 of Exhibit S be displayed. If you look at the monitor, is that the photo that you are referring to?
Isona lesithombe ukhuluma ngaso?
Yeah, well, you saw this.
Yes, it is this photo.
And when Gininda said the person that is depicted amongst the people that are there is you, which person did he point to as depicted in that photo?
Imuphi lo ayekhuluma ngaye uma ayethi ke wena lona?
Wayekhuluma ngalo.
Ungasondela?
The witness is referring to the person with the cap on.
And I want to object to this reading of this evidence. Is this exhibit part of this trial within a trial? This court, please.
As the court pleases, my lord, this has been disclosed to us as part of the totality of the case.
No. We are in a trial within a trial. We are not on a trial regarding the merits of this matter. The question which this court must decide upon after having declared the trial within a trial because accused number 1 and number 2 disputed that they had freely and voluntarily made the alleged confessions. And the law says you must declare a trial within a trial.
As the court pleases,
And that is a circumscribed,
yes,
compartmentalized interlocutory inquiry.
as the court
It
pleases.
has nothing to do with drinking Coca-Cola at
No, that's
Fosnura.
fine.
So
That's
well.
fine, my lord. I'll withdraw that question. Now, that questioning by Gininda on the 17th, did he ask you anything further?
Leyo mibuzo leyo ke owayibuzwa uGininda ngalelo langa la nge7 khona okunye akubuza kona.
Hayi wathi nje maqeda ungikhombisa ithombe hayi basukuma bahamba mangithi ithombeleze angizanze Nkosi enkantolo.
After pointing out the photos to me and me saying that I don't know the photos or the people of the photos, they stood up and they left.
Now, let's move on to the events of the 18th of June 2020. Do you recall the events of that day?
Uyakhumbula ke ngazo i18th ka June 2020. Yakhumbula kwenzeka ngalelo langa lelo?
Yeah.
Yes.
What transpired on that day?
Yini eyenzeka ngalelo langa?
Wafika uSergeant Mkhane Nkosi enkantolo ePro station.
Sergeant Mukhane arrived at the police station,
Proceed.
Wangivulele eseleni wangitshela ukuthi mangivuke.
opened up for me in the cell and told me to wake up.
Let me just for clarity, what time did he arrive? Roughly what time, not the exact time.
Ungathi noma ungeke usho ke isikhathi ngqo ke kodwa ungathi kwakungobani inkathi uma efika.
Wawusekuseni isikhathi ngingasazi isikhathi angisazi Nkosi enkantolo.
It was in the morning, although I don't know the time, my lord.
Proceed further.
Usungaqhubeka.
Maye thi angivuke sambeke waseke engifaka ama handcuff la ngemuva.
When he told me to wake up and that we leave, he then placed my hands right at the back and handcuffed me.
sambe sike siyophuma ngomnyango lo mawuphuma emaseleni lo phuma la party passage yamasela.
We then went out of the door, that is now the door of the cells, my lord. In other words, the passage that is in the cells.
Then what happened?
Mangifika lapho ke ngathola usayitsheni lo munye usayitsheni Mabhena.
Upon arrival there, that's when I found the other sergeant, Sergeant Mabhena.
Emduzane nemoto lemhlophe white Fortune.
He was standing close to the white Fortuner.
Wavula ngangena phakathi.
He opened and I went inside.
Umkhani wasephinde ngena lendlela leyangazi yangawulumema officeini nini ngambone yale waphinde wabuya kwase start imoto sahamba.
Mukhane then went back towards the offices. He came back, switched on the vehicle, and we left.
Sorry to cut you off. Did the police tell you why they were booking you out on that day?
Ingabe amaphoyisa akutshela yini ukuthi kwakungani bekhipha ngalelo langa lelo?
Cha Nkosi enkantolo akangitshelanga mina ngambona sesiseCartonville esethi khomba ishaft wawehla kuyo la ngoba amashaft aseCartonville maningi kakhulu.
No, my lord, I only just noticed or saw when we were in Carltonville and I was told to point out the shaft where I had went down because there were too many shafts in Carltonville.
Who was driving the white Toyota Fortuner?
Fortuna lena kwakubani umshayeli wayo?
Oyena usayitsheni Mkhani.
Sergeant Mukhane.
And did you give them any directions to go to your workplace?
Ingabe wawubatshengisa yini ukuthi bahambe kanjani ukuyofika emsebenzini wakho?
Cha.
No.
Mina ngibakhombe nje kuphela nesembuza ukuthi iphi shaft la ngathi nazo ngoba vele isemgwaqeni. Uphuma nje emgwaqeni ungena khona.
I only pointed out when I was being asked about the shaft because it is just close to the road. You just leave the road and then you are at the shaft.
And which shaft number did you take them to?
Iyiphi ishaft obayisakuyona?
Number 8.
Number 8.
Then what transpired when you arrived at shaft number 8?
Masenifika ke kuyena ushaft number 8 kwasekwenzekani?
Ngabakhombisa Nkosi enkantolo ukuthi ngisebenza la wasehla umkhani yedwa ngishiya noMabhena ngaphandle.
I pointed out to them, my lord, that this is where I'm working. Mukhane then alighted, my lord, and he went there alone, left me together with Mabhena in the vehicle.
Now, let me just pause here for a minute. On the morning of the 18th of June 2020, when Mukhane books you out, did he inform you of your constitutional rights?
Ngalelanga 18th ka June 2020 ngathi ke uMukhane ekhipha ke lapha emaseleni wakuxwayisa yini ngamalungelo akho?
Angikhumbuli Nkosi enkantolo.
I do not recall, my lord.
Now, you are at shaft number 8. Mukhane has exited the vehicle. What then transpired?
Nifikile ke manje ku shaft 8 Mukhane uphumile unishile emotweni nomabili noMabhena kwasekwenzekani?
Wangena ngaphakathi Nkosi enkantolo. Waphinde wabuya wazongibiza nasesibiza noMabhena sasesingena sonke futhi.
He went in, he then came back, called both myself and Mabhena, and then all three of us went in together.
And by the way, the shaft that you went to show that the police officers took you to, it's at which mine?
Ikuyiphi mine leyo shaft leyo khuluma ngayo?
IseCartonville, East Riffontein egama la.
East Riffontein.
Yes, Banya
Carltonville, East Riffontein, Sibanye, Stillwater, my lord.
Proceed further when they took you now inside the premises of the mine complex.
Qhubeka ke nangena nobathathu.
Singenile ke ngaphakathi ke sahamba. Angimazi lo munye lo wayehamba la umkhali umlungu eyosikhombisa ioffice le eShaka.
We then left, or proceeded, my lord. I don't know this white gentleman that Mukhane was with, went to point it out the office.
The white gentleman, for clarity's sake, is not a police officer. Is that an employee of the mine according to your observation?
Umlungu lo khuluma ngaye kwakungasilena iphoyisa, umuntu owayesebenza emine naye. Ngendlela wabona ngaye kwakuumuntu osebenza emine.
Ngoba samthola ngaphakathi ngena umuntu osebenza ngaphakathi ngacabanga ukuthi umuntu osebenza khona.
Because we found the person inside, I would then assume that it was someone working there.
Ngoba ngeke ungene uyohlala ngaphakathi ungenalo icard.
Because you would never go in, sit inside without having a card.
Proceed further, sir.
Yebo.
Sasesingena ke officeini le eSharo. Wase ngibuza kumkhalo omkhani benoMabhena ukuthi ena ngabe yiyona office eSharo lo ngathi mina ya yi office party umlungu lo wayephethe section lenga ngisebenza akusuye lo.
Then this office was then we were then taken to this office. I think the witness is saying HR office, if I'm hearing correctly. HR office, and uthi what when aksiyana le office.
Yili office kodwa umlungu lo engamthola phakathi ehlele
Yeah.
ku computer kwangesiyo lenga.
All right. I then confirmed that this was indeed the office, but then the person or the white person that I found there busy on the PC, I said, this is not the one that I know.
Then what transpired in that office?
Kwasekwenzekani?
Bakhuluma ke naphe language bebekhuluma ngangayizwa.
They then spoke among themselves in the language that I couldn't understand.
But eventually, what then transpired there? Did they get the information that they were looking for, or what happened?
Kwasekwenzekani ke egcineni ngaba bakuthola lokho babekufuna noma kwenzekani?
Wangibuza umlungu lo wayehleli phansi ngoba ukhuluma umfana kalo emayini. Wathi mangibize kune number ebizwa eqala ngo Z emayini.
Okay. This white gentleman, my lord, then asked me or spoke to me because in the mines they don't speak proper language. It's just a mix, what would be being referred to as being Sfanagalo, and then asked me for a specific number that starts with a Z. Yebo?
Ngambizela ke number ke asephuma kamaphepha base bawathatha lamaphepha la bewabuka bona omkhana azange wabone mina ukuthi la kunjani babewabuka bona hayi mina.
I then mentioned the number, then documents were printed out. They looked at those documents. I didn't see the documents. They were the ones that were looking at the documents.
Then what transpired after they received the documents?
Kwasekwenzekani?
Masiqeda ukwathatha enkosenkantolo kwasasihamba sawophuma futhi ngegate.
Took the documents and then we went out of the gate.
And what happened outside the gate?
Kwenzekani ngaphandle egate-ini?
Masifika egate wasengibuza uMabhena ukuthi imedical le ubuyisebenzisa usebenza la ngabe kuphi yona ngathi mina iphezulu duzana nehostel lapha engangihlala ngakhona.
Mabhena then wanted to know from me the medical that you were using whilst working here in this mine. Where is it? I then said that it is closer to where I am staying.
And what happened?
Kwasekwenzekani?
Inyukile ke imoto masifika khona egate la khona ngathi kulapha imedical enziwa khona.
The car then drove up. On arrival there, I then pointed out that this is where the medical is done.
What happened when you get at that center?
Masenifika khona lapho kwenzekani?
Sangena ngaphakathi kosenkantolo mabefika ngaphakathi bathi bacela ifile lami la esibhedlela.
We went inside, my lord, and when they got there, they then requested for my file from that hospital.
What then happened?
Kwathini?
Wababuzwa kusisi ukuthi ifile nivumelene nomnikazi ukuthi sikhiphe ngoba phela fanele sikhombise nama license yonke into yenu.
The lady then inquired from them, did you, is this now in agreement together with the person, was the patient, because you also have to produce your documents.
Proceed.
Yebo?
Base bephendula ngabazi bakhuluma nabo bengayibhekisi ke imlo pendulo bekhuluma bodwa lapha.
They then responded, but I couldn't hear what they were saying because that was not directed at me. They were speaking amongst themselves.
Wase ngibiza kusisi ngaphinde ke ngambizela yona le nombolo eqala ngo Z ngoba ngeke liphume lingabiziwe inombolo le yami.
The lady called me. I then mentioned the very same number that starts with AZ because the file won't come out if that number is not mentioned.
Then what happened?
Base bechecka base bethi sicela usicheckele ukuthi ayikhona injali engayireporta ngo-October mina la.
They then requested for her to check as to whether was there any injury that I reported in October.
And was that information furnished to the police officers?
Ngabe ke bakunikwa ke lokho?
Banginingi ngoba ngababona amaphepha bewaphethe.
It was furnished because I saw them in possession of documents.
Did anything further happen in that office?
Kukhona okunye okwenzeka kulelo office lelo?
Mabethetha amaphepha siphumile futhi saya kuphi ngaphandle kwegate samaduzane nemoto.
When they took those documents, we went out, outside the gate, next to the vehicle.
And what happened outside the gate at the vehicle?
Kwenzekani lapho?
Mina bangivulelile ngangena emotweni.
They-
Bona bamaphandle.
Okay, they opened for me, I got into the vehicle, and they remained standing outside.
And then what happened thereafter?
Kwasekwenzekani?
babekhuluma nefoni ngangezwa ukuthi bakhuluma nobani nefoni ngoba akuphilanga ngisho isikhathi esingakanani ngabona sekufika yena ubaba lo bengibuza imibuzo nge-17 wathi ubaba uGinenda nomama lo wayethi umamfundisi.
They were then speaking, my lord, using the phone. I couldn't hear what they were saying or who they were talking to. And then after some time, this gentleman that was asking me questions on the 17th, Mr. Gininda, arrived, as well as the lady who introduced herself to me as Umamfundisi.
Now, for clarity's sake, you've seen the person in court and you've heard her name being said in court, her real name, that Mamfundisi. What is her real surname?
Umbonile lo muntu okhuluma ngayo lo wena uthi umbiza uMamfundisi, umbonile noma ke futhi wezwa nala enkantolo uma belibiza igama lakhe ke. Bathini uma bebiza igama lakhe noma isibongo sakhe la enkantolo?
Nkosi enkantolo isibongo sakhe ngiqala khona la ngathi Mkhula or Mkhola la.
I heard the surname for the first time here in court. I think they said Mkhula.
Now you are outside the gate. Brigadier Gininda arrives with Sergeant Mkhula. What then transpires? Take it from there.
Kufika ke uGinenda noMkhula kwasekwenzekani?
Bafika ke uSergeant Mkhalante ephethe amaphepha bafe babuka lamaphepha bembodwa la phandle.
On their arrival, Sergeant Mkhula was in possession of documents. They looked at those documents as they were standing outside there by themselves.
And what happened?
Emveni kwalokho ngambona yena ubaba uGinenda Nkosi enkantolo ebiyela ngaphakathi lapha esibhedlela lapha bekade siphuma khona.
I then saw Gininda going back to the hospital that we were coming out of.
Did he go by himself?
Ehamba
Or was
yedwa.
he accompanied by?
Ehamba yedwa ngoba u3 ngangisheke nabo ngaphandle.
Alone, because the other three remained with me outside.
Did there come a point when he returned from inside the complex, Gininda?
Ingaba sikhona ke isikhathi la abuya khona ke. Ngaba nje nanjengoba wangena wabuya futhi.
Wangena waphindwa wabuya sebuya sekuthenje uba nesikhathi esincane waphindwa wabuya weza lakithi Nkosi enkantolo.
After some time or a short space of time, he came back to us.
And what happened when he returned to the cars?
Uma sebuyela ke emotweni kwenzekani?
Waqala naye wakhuluma nefoni khona la phandle. Mayekhuluma nefoni ngazi ukhuluma nabani. Emveni kwalokho wasevula emotweni ukuthi namanje afuna ukumtshena iqiniso na ngimbuza ukuthi iqiniso lephi ngizokutshena lona.
He was speaking, my lord, using his phone. I don't know who he was talking to, and then opened the vehicle, asked me, "Are you still not wanting to tell the truth?" And then I asked him, "What truth?"
And in relation to, for context purposes, when he says, you still don't want to tell me the truth, did he relate in respect to what aspects?
Uma ethi awukafuni namanje ukhuluma iqiniso, washo kuwena ukuthi ukhuluma ngani?
Wangitshela ukuthi afuna ukukhuluma iqiniso into bengibuza ne-boardroom to wawukuphi ngokushona kaSenzo na.
He said to me, "Are you still not wanting to tell the truth with regards to what I asked you in the boardroom as to where you were when Senzo was killed?"
And what was your response?
Wathini umuphendula?
Impendulo yami Nkosi enkantolo kuye ngathi mina into ongangibuza zona leza la emsebenzini nanokuthi ingoma ekuphi ngakuphendula ke lapho.
I told him that the only things that you can ask me about are work-related issues, and also where we have to gather for dance or for a song, a ceremony. There I can answer you.
What then transpired after that?
Kwasekwenzekani ke emuva kwalokho?
Wathi angimhloniphi ngathi mina angazi lokho kusho kwakho lokho baba.
He then said that
impendulo engcono.
He then said that disrespecting him, I then said to him, that's what you are saying.
Then what happened?
Kwasekwenzekani?
Basebema ke phandle bona bekhuluma ke. Into bekhuluma baba u4.
They stood outside, they were talking amongst themselves, the four of them.
And once they've done speaking amongst themselves, what transpired?
Kwasekwenzekani masebeqedile ukukhuluma?
Mabeqeda ukukhuluma Nkosi enkantolo uGinenda wasengena emotweni ke nomama lo Mamfundisi.
Then Gininda got into the vehicle together with the lady Mamfundisi. Mbize ngesibongo sakhe ngithi. Uzwile mase isibongo sakhe. Mbize ngaso isibongo sakhe.
USergeant Mkhula.
Sergeant Mkhula.
Then what happened?
Kwasekwenzekani?
Ngashiyeka ke Nkosi enkantolo nomabhena noSergeant lo umkhana.
I then remained behind with Mabena and Sergeant Mukhane.
And did you know where they entered? Did they leave or did they enter the mine complex?
Ingabe ba Gininda and Mukhula.
Gininda and Mukhula, I'm sorry.
Ugininda noMukhula ingaba bahamba noma bangena ngaphakathi emine.
hayi bajika baqhama ngendlela leyo phela thina sasimi indawo yeso sasimi la mawuzongena sibheke indawo yehlele ma imoto ijika ihamba straight angibonana mayangena ngaphakathi noma ihamba straight
They turned around because from where we were positioned, my lord, one cannot see as to whether they drove inside or they left.
Now, Brigadier Gininda testified in this case and he said the following. At Carltonville, at Sibanye Gold, upon his arrival and those investigations were done, he got into the motor vehicle that you were in and he indeed questioned you about the case that he questioned you about. Do you recall that?
Kubufakazi bakhe ke abethule kuyona ke lenkantolo uBrigadier Gininda uthi ke impela ke wayekhona ke lapho eSibanye kwenziwa ke lolo phenyo olalwenziwa khona lapho wasengena emotweni ke owawukuyona wena impeleni ke wavuma futhi nokuthi ke wakubuza imibuzo.
Iphutha lenkosi enkantolo lona iqiniso.
No, that's a mistake, my lord. It's not the truth.
Then he testified that indeed you denied any knowledge of the allegations that he was asking you about.
Empeleni ushilo ke nayo ke ebufakazini bakhe uBrigadier Gininda ukuthi wase wena ke uphika ukuthi cha awazi lutho ke wena ngeinsolo lezi yena ayekubuza ngazo.
Yebo uqinisile inkosi enkantolo.
Yes, he was telling the truth, my lord.
He further testified that he then confronted you with a photo of an identity kit that was published in the newspaper pertaining to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa, and that you denied that the person that he pointed at on that photo depicted wearing, on that identity kit, depicted wearing a hoodie resembled you. You denied that and you said it's a case of mistaken identity.
Uthi waseqhubeka ke ekubuza isithombe ke manje esasigcweleke esasikhishwa ke emaphepheni somuntu lapho owayegqoke ihoodie wase wena ke uphika ke uthi cha loya muntu loyana ke akusiwena ke iphutha leli elenziwa lapha yana noma iphutha lelo alenzayo ukuthi uwena loya okulesa sithombe.
Nkosi enkantolo isithombe lesekukhulunywa ngaso ngiqala ukubona sivezwa lapha.
The first time I saw that photo, my lord, it's when it was depicted here.
That after that, he then exited that motor vehicle and he was walking towards his motor vehicle when one of the officers, he didn't identify which one, called him to say that you, Mr. Ntanzi, wanted to talk to him again.
Uthi ke waphuma ke kule moto oyehlezi kuyona imoto le ogibele kuyona wena ehamba ke eya kule moto ayehamba ngayo yena kodwa ke elinye lamaphoyisa kulawa maphoyisa ayelapha akashonga ukuthi yiliphi lase limbiza ke lithi wena ke Ntanzi ufisa noma ufuna ukukhuluma naye. That's a mistake, my lord.
My lord, I think that's an opportune time. It's heading towards 11:30. Francis remarks that to him tantamounted to a confession. What is your comment?
Okunye futhi kubona ubufakazi bakhe ke uBrigadier Gininda uthe nkathi ekhuluma nawe kunezinto owazisho kuyena ke lezo zinto lezo waseyithatha ke ngokuthi ke lokho ukugonyuluka noma ngathi ukuvuma ke uthini wena kulokho. I dispute that, my lord.
That at that stage he then proceeded to read you or to explain or advise constitutional rights to you.
Uthi ke emuva kwalokho yila aseqale khona ke manje ukuthi asexwayisa ke ngamalungelo akho ngokomthetho sisekelo.
Bengicela Nkosi enkantolo umelana ke ngichasisele ngama rights la mhlambe khona phe engezwe khona kahle.
I would like, my lord, to request my legal representative to explain to me or to tell me about the rights. Maybe there is somewhere where I'm missing it.
So the procedure is that normally when a police officer questions you and intends to arrest you relating to an offense, there are certain rights in terms of the Constitution Act 108 of 1996 that he must advise or explain to you.
Umthetho ke uthi uma iphoyisa likhulumisana nawe noma linenhloso lokuthi ke likubopheke ukuthi ke kufanele ngokomthetho sisekelo ke abe nezinto akutshela zona ke noma akweqwayisa ngazo ilezi kuma usechazwayo noma ibizwa ke manje kuyethiwa ke umuntu unelungelo elithile unelungelo elithize unelungelo elithize ngokomthetho sekelo akwexwayise.
Kosenkantolo azikho nkosenkantolo zexwayisa ngazo.
No, my lord, there were no warnings that he gave me.
Yes, as I tried to do that earlier, but you answered the question and I was curtailed to answer that right. So let me give you examples. Paramount of those rights are you are told that you've got the right to remain silent. Did Gininda warn you of those rights at Carltonville?
Akubalekile ke lawo malungelo ukuthi kumuntu akutsheleke ukuthi yabona njengoba ngikubopha ke manje unelungelo lokuthula lokuthi ungasho lutho kumina. Ingabe uGininda wakuxwayisa nini ngalelo lungelo lelo?
Cha nkosenkantolo azange.
No, my lord, he didn't.
Did he advise you that anything that you say to him may and will be used against you in a court of law?
Ngaba wakuxwayisa yini ukuthi noma yini oyishoyo kuyena leyo nto leyo ingasetshenziswa nabo njengoba sihlangene la manje icala liyaqulwa ukuthi leyo nto leyo isetshenziswa nanjengobufakazi ngakuwena?
Cha nkosenkantolo.
No, my lord.
Did he explain to you that you've got the right to have an attorney present during questioning?
Ingabe wakutshela yini ukuthi unelungelo lokuthi unganommeli abe khona ummeli njengoba yena ekhuluma nawe ekubuza imibuzo ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi akubuza imibuzo unelungelo lokuthi ummeli wakho abe khona uma ekubuza imibuzo?
Cha nkosenkantolo.
No, my lord.
Did he also explain to you that you've got the right, if you don't have financial means, to be provided with a lawyer at state expense?
Ngabe waqhubeka yini akutsheleke uma kuwukuthi awunayo imali yokuthi ufuna ummeli ngabe ngaphandle ozomkhokhela ukuthi ke ungasenza leso sicelo leso ke kumbuso wona kuzokutholela ummeli bese kuba umbuso okhokhela lo mmeli loyo?
Cha nkosenkantolo.
No, my lord.
Did he explain to you the right that you have to challenge the legality of your arrest?
Ingabe wakutshela yini ukuthi unelungelo lokuthi ke ungabe usemanje ke usebenzisa umthetho ke ukuthi ubhekisise indlela oboshwe ngayo ukuthi indlela esomthethweni yini noma ehambisana nomthetho?
Cha kaze ngitshene nkosenkantolo.
No. No, he's never informed me, my lord.
Now, Mr. Ntanzi, those rights are encapsulated in Section 35 of the Constitution, but there's a whole lot conspectus of those rights. But the ones that I've just summarized now are the ones that are normally read to arrested persons, suspects, and the like.
Lamalungelo ke awaphelele kula engiwashoyo mina kodwa ke ukaningi ke uma abantu beboshwa noma umuntu eboshwa ke iwona lana achazwayo kodwa maningi wona ke khona la abhalwe khona ke angaphansi komthetho ke abawubiza ngokuthi uSection 35 kodwa ngikubizela nje mina athize nje.
Now let's proceed. Then Brigadier Gininda testified further that you indicated to him that you are willing to make a statement to an independent officer pertaining to the remarks that he said you made.
Waseqhubeka ke kubufakazi bakhe uBrigadier uGininda wathi wase umtshela ke wena ke ukuthi uyimisele ukuthi ungayokhuluma nomuntu ke oyimela ngamanye amagama ke umuntu ongasiyona ke ingxenye yophenyo noma ke ithimba leli asebenza nalo eliphenyayo uyimisele ukuthi ungahlangana nomuntu onjalo uyokhuluma kuloyo muntu loyo.
Cha nkosenkantolo angikwazi lokho.
No, my lord, I don't know about that.
And let me just track back and tie it up with this one of rights. That you indicated your willingness to talk to him in the absence of an attorney, in the absence of a lawyer. You waived your right to have a lawyer.
Waqhubeka ke wathi wena washo kuyena wathi uyimisela ukuthi ungakhuluma kuye noma ukhulume naye ummeli engekho.
Cha nkosenkantolo angikwazi ukungiqala namhlanje.
No, my lord, I'm hearing that for the first time.
Now, sir, you have testified that you were booked out from Pretoria North by Mokgane in the company of Mabena and taken to Carltonville. During that time, let me start here. Did you have breakfast in the morning at the police station in custody?
A particular police station?
In the morning, before they booked him or at the time they booked him, did he have breakfast at Pretoria North?
Okay. Ngale langa ngithi kule police station yase Pretoria North bakhipha ke bahamba nawe umkhanya namabhena kodwa ngaphambilini kokuthi uhambe ke ukudla ke kwasekuseni lokho bakubiza ngokuthi ke i-breakfast wawukudlile yini ngalela langa?
Cha ngangadlanga Nkosi enkantolo.
No, I didn't eat, my lord.
Now, during the time that you go with Mabena and Mohane, they do investigations. Later on, they are joined by Gininda and Sergeant Mukhula. Were you given anything to eat?
Manje ke se ngiyahamba ke uhamba naye uMabhena kanye naye uMukhane kwase kufika ke uBrigadier Gininda uSergeant Mukhula ingabe ngaleso sikhathi leso kukhona enakudla?
Cha Nkosi enkantolo akukudla nakudla.
No, my lord, I didn't eat any food.
Were you given anything to drink?
Khona okunikiwe ukuthi uphuze?
Cha next Nkosi enkantolo.
No, nothing, my lord.
And was there a time when you were given the opportunity for a comfort break or to use a bathroom?
Ingabe sikhona yini noma likhona yini ithuba la khona ke wanikezwa ke isikhathi ukuthi usungahamba ke manje endlini encane uma kuukuthi ufuna uyisiza?
Cha Nkosi enkantolo.
No, my lord.
And at the time, were your hands still in restraints from the morning, from when they handcuffed you to the time as when these investigations are done within the mine complex? Were you still in handcuffs?
Ingabe ngaso sonke leso sikhathi leso kusukela ke ekseni bekhipha laphayana niyahamba kungenwe imayini la benza khona ke uphenyo labo ukuthi ngaso sonke leso sikhathi leso izandla zakho ufakwe ozankosi?
Ngangiwafaka kodwa masingene emayini ngoba ngangengikwazi ungena egating ngoba igate yakhona ile ejikeleza encane le ngena umuntu nje straight
Yes.
bawakhipha bawabuyisela sengaphakathi ngangengikwazi ungena nawe egating ngoba efasoni ngefaso.
My lord, when I went through the gate, I would not have been able to go through that gate, the swerving gate, with the handcuffs on. So they were removed, and when I was on the other side, that is now inside the mine, they were placed back again.
Yes, bar those instances when you go through 10 stars. At all material times, the handcuffs were slapped on you, correct?
Kodwa ke ngaphandle kwalokho ngaso sonke isikhathi ozankosi babefakiwe bengakhishiwe.
Yebo Nkosi enkantolo.
That is correct, my lord.
Now, we are at the stage, and I want you to take it from there. Investigations are done at Sibanye. How long, in terms of time, you arrive in the morning, how long did you stay, perhaps, according to your estimation, at Sibanye Gold?
Ngokwesikhathi ke angithi nafike ekseni khona laphayana ke esibanye ungathi ke kwaba isikhathi esingakanani enani lapho eCarltonville khona nanjengoba nafike ekseni?
Nkosi enkantolo angisasikhumbula isikhathi ngoba newash ngangenayo.
My lord, I can't remember the time because I did not even have a watch.
Let's leave that. Now, proceed further. The investigations are done. Mukhula and Brigadier Gininda have left. What then happened to you, Mabena and Mohani?
Usushilo ke ukuthi base behamba ke uBrigadier Gininda naye uSergeant Mukhula kwase kwenzekani ke ngawe uSergeant Mukhane kanye noMabhena?
Uma ehamba Nkosi enkantolo uGenenda sasheka sathi nje ukuma bekhuluma namafoni.
We remained there, my lord. We stood there. They were speaking using their phones.
Baseke bengena emotweni maqedwe ukukhuluma nefoni. Sahamba sagudla ilokhoze plant lapho ibhande lelihambisa igolide ephuma emgodini. Masifika phambili ngambona uMabhena ekhuluma nefoni.
We then proceeded from there, my lord, that is now traveling alongside the plant, that is now the one that now produces or takes out the gold from the mine. And then at some point I saw Mabhena using his phone, talking.
Ngoba wayekhuluma ilanguage le esifana nezulu ngangimuzwa ukuthi ngoba wayethi mphathi senze njani ngalo muntu lo.
Because he was speaking a language that is similar to isiZulu, I could understand him. He was then saying, boss, what should we do with this person?
Then what happened?
Mayeqeda ukukhuluma nefoni ngangayizwa impendulo ephuma kulo muntu akhuluma nawo wavala ifoni wase ngibuza ukuthi indlela eRustenburg la ehamba ngapi ngathi mina ngiyiboni mangela.
I could not get the answer or the response from the other side, but then when he was done, he then asked me, how do we travel from Rustenburg when we are here? I then said, from here, I can't see it.
Now, remember, we are still talking about the 18th at the mine complex, the investigations, all of the whereabouts, the clinic where they took your records. Where were you taken from Carltonville?
ukhumbuleke sisakhuluma ngoloko kwenzeka ngazo i18 lapha yana ke emine unibani ekliniki ukusuka lapho bakuthatha bakusa kuphi.
Kosenkantolo mina ngabona indlela ibheka le ngaseGoli ukuthi iGoli alilazi kodwa ngabona nje imoto apha yafika yamakhona yafika engine garage lapha ngafika ngabona khona ngoba iGoli alilazi kahle kahle.
Just saw the vehicle traveling towards Johannesburg, my lord, but because I am not familiar with Johannesburg, but I just saw the vehicle coming to a standstill at a engine garage.
And do you know the particular suburb or town where that engine filling station was?
Indawo le engine loyo othi moto wayibona imisa kuyena uyazi ukuthi yini igama la leyo ndawo leyo.
Ngangazi igama lakho ngoba imoto ngayibona mina mayijika so iphuma kule ndlela leyo indlela engiyayibona indlela esihamba ngamasekhaya. Mayiphuma indicate ijika ezoje phakathi kwebridge mayikhuphuka ngibona ibhodi elibhalwe Albertine ibhodi.
Okay. I didn't know the name, my lord, but just as the car took a turn, because I was familiar with the road, that's the road that we would be using going home. So I saw a board or a signboard written Albertine.
Lapho ke imoto yahamba khona yaze yafika ke yangena kulo garage leyo.
That's where the car traveled up until it reached that filling station.
And what transpired at that garage?
Kwenzekani ke kuleyo garage leyo?
Egarage wafika ke imoto umkhani wayimisa ke behla bekhuluma namafoni.
At that garage, he brought the vehicle to a standstill, and then they alighted and spoke, and then they were speaking over their phones.
Now let's get a general idea of that filling station. We'll have a filling station, the tanks, perhaps testify whether does it have a shop inside that garage?
Siyazi ke ukuthi igarage ke ngokuvamsekile ukuthi izobanjani ke iyona igarage inama tank la kuthela khona ke ingaba isitolo yayinaso leyo garage leyo.
Angibonanga ukuthi isitolo ngoba imoto ayiyanga nalapho kuthela khona petrol Nkosenkantolo yangena nje yaya straight la kuma parking ayiyanga le kuthela ngakhona petrol.
Couldn't see, or I didn't see whether there was a shop, my lord, because it did not go to the tanks, in other words to fill up, but it went straight to the parking lot.
Can you perhaps give a bit of clarity about the area specifically where the car was parked, the Toyota Fortuner, at the garage?
Ungakhona yini ukuthi uyichaze indawo le othi imoto yaya kuyona ke la njengokuthi ku park yafika yamakhona ke indawo ongakhona ukuthi uyichaze uyisho?
Yebo ngayichaza Nkosenkantolo.
Yes.
Please describe it for the court.
Uyichaze.
Nkosenkantolo imoto mayingena la kunendawo ngathi nje indawo yokuhlala abantu abadlayo la namatafula nyana. Iside yayiphambi kwamoto yayimi ibuka so kunendawo ngathi yethamala into lamagesi amahasi la.
Okay.
Ngoba ngangibona umuntu mayephethe ihase yalapha ngingaze kodwa uthi uyokwenzani.
My lord, as one would be driving in, there would be tables on the side where people would sit and eat, and then as you drive straight to where the car was parked, you would see people going in with their gas tanks. You would think that, oh, it looked like a place where people were filling up their gas tanks.
Now proceed from where Mabena is on a call making certain calls. What then transpired?
Shilo ukuthi baphuma ke bekhuluma ke emafonini qhubeka ke kusuka lapho kwenzekani.
Etheme beqeda ukukhuluma namafoni Nkosenkantolo ngabona kuqhamuka imoto embili iGTI imoto emhlophe eyinomaka yizwa ngazi ukuthi emaphoyisa bizwa ngani ngoba ngifunda yedwa nayo umaka onayo ihardboard engenawo umaka evene emhlophe.
Then two vehicles appeared, my lord. It was a white GTI. It was marked, although I can't tell what that mark was because I'm illiterate. And then there was a hard body, but the hard body wasn't marked.
Now, describe to the court the occupants first of the VW GTI.
Awusichazele ke ngalabo ababegibele kwi-GTI leyo eyayimhlophe leyo othi yayinomaka.
Kwi-GTI kwakukhona abantu abayi-2.
There were two people in the GTI, yebo.
Were they male persons?
Kwakuwabantu besilisa?
Yebo.
Yes.
Were they black, white, Indian colored?
Kwakuwabantu abamnyama, abantu abamhlophe, ama-Indian, ama-Khalati.
engathi ngamacolor kodwa lona omunye wayefihle ngemask lo omunye lo.
It looked like
Efake
colored.
imask so.
So they looked like colored, but the other one was hidden himself with a mask.
The one with who's not hidden with a mask, did he at any stage testify in this court?
Omunye lona ke owayengayifakile imask ingaba mhlambe wayezile la inkantolo ezothola ufakazi.
Yeah, kufikile.
The one with who's not hidden with a mask, did he at any stage testify in this court?
Omunye lona ke owayengayifakile imask ingaba mhlambe wayezile la inkantolo ezothola ufakazi.
Yeah, kufikile.
Yes, he did.
What is his name?
Ubani igama lakhe?
Igama lakhe ngilizwe khona lapha enkantolo ukuthi Jonathan.
I heard his name here in court, Jonathan.
And in that GTI, were there the guy with a mask on, and Jonathan, was there any other occupant in that car?
Why
In the GTI.
Actually babe by two.
There were two people in the GTI.
Now, the occupants of the hard body, can you describe to the court how many were they?
Babe bangaki ababegibele kwi-hard body?
Uhelp bodies ngababonanga kahle phakathi ngoba kwaphuma abantu abayi2. Ngibabonanga ukuthi babe bangaphakathi.
I couldn't see as to how many they were inside, but two people alighted from it.
And those people, were they male or female persons?
Kwakubantu besilisa besifazane,
Kwangabo body.
gentlemen.
And now, just for clarity's sake, the two cars, were they police cars or were they normal civilian cars?
Le moto ebili lezi kwakuyimoto zamaphoyisa noma kwakungezona imoto zamaphoyisa?
Lena yodwa ngoba yali noma le iGTI le hamba uJonathan. Yona ayibonisa ukuthi imoto amaphoyisa ayingabonisi le mhlophe.
Because the GTI was marked, it indicated, there was an indication that it was a police vehicle, but the other one, the hard body, was not marked.
And the occupants of both cars, the Nissan hard body and the GTI VW motor vehicle, were they clothed in civilian clothing or were they in uniform?
Labantu laba ke kuzo zoyimbini le imoto lezi ngaba babegqokele nje impahla zabo noma babegqoke ke impahla zomsebenzi ezitshengisayo ukuthi ke basemsebenzini.
Abegqoka impahla zomsebenzi kwasenkantolo.
They were in uniform.
Including the two persons from the Nissan hard body.
Nalaba laba babephuma hard body nabo.
Ngabona laba baphuma beza ke mababili.
I saw the two that came to me, or that got out and came towards me.
Now, what transpired once these two cars arrived at the engine garage where the Toyota Fortuner was parking?
Seyifikile ke le moto embili lapho ke egarage engine kwasekwenzekani.
Kwasenkantolo iGTI yangena yagudla yona iFortune ngoba iFortune yimibo yangena na yangena la ihard body yayimisongo ngemuva so zilandelene kodwa nale ngaphambili iGTI.
As these two cars were following each other, the hard body following the GTI parked next to the Fortuner and the hard body was just behind.
Then what transpired?
Kwasekwenzekani.
Wasephuma komabhena lapha naye emotweni ngoba wayebuya angena emotweni ngoba kwakubanda.
Mabena then alighted from the vehicle because he would go in and come out of the vehicle because it was cold.
Proceed further.
Baphuma bakhuluma bonke nje bemlapha ngingabezwa ukuthi bathini.
They got out, they were all speaking among themselves over there and I couldn't hear what they were saying.
Proceed.
Emveni kwalokho waseza ke umabhena wangikhipha la kule moto le iFortune wangifaka kule GTI le.
From there, Mabena then came to the Fortuner, took me out of the Fortuner and placed me in the GTI.
Were you still in handcuffs at the time?
Usafabuza Nkosi nangaleso sikhathi.
Yeah.
Yes.
How were you still handcuffed?
Babefakwe kanjani?
Ngalokho bafake ngemuva.
My hands were always, all the time at the back.
And where were you placed in the GTI motor vehicle?
Kwasekuthi ku-GTI bakubeka kuphi noma bakuhlalisa kuphi nendawo?
Ngangena ngapha endaweni ka-driver leya right umdriver ngaphambili ngangena ngemuva.
Just right behind the driver, no, on the right hand side.
And did anyone else get into that car?
Khona omunye wangena kuleyo moto.
Kwangena umabhena ngale sandleni sami sokunxele.
On my left side it was Mabena.
What then transpired in that motor vehicle?
Kwasekwenzekani ke?
Ngoba phambili lo wayehleli phambili no Jonathan. Yena wayelokho ehleli nje lapha ya. uJonathan ehleli la.
The other one, the person that was with Jonathan was on the left, that is now in front, and Jonathan was just seated there.
What then transpired?
Kwasekwenzekani?
Kwase-ke uJonathan ejike ngibheka kwase kusondela-ke ubaba wayiproducer ke mothi ngobuthelezi.
Then Jonathan turned around and looked at me, and then certain gentleman then introduced himself as Buthelezi.
Yes, we may have missed that one. Where, in relation to the GTI, there's Jonathan in front passengers, driver's side, front passenger seat, unknown man. The left is Mabena, the right is you. Where is Jonathan in relation to those positioning? The driver is Jonathan.
Yes.
There's an unknown male person with a mask on the front passenger seat.
Yes.
On the left rear, it's Mabena.
Yes.
And the witness is on the
The
right,
right.
yes. Behind the driver.
Yes.
Where is Buthelezi?
Okay. Kulabantu ababalile bonke la emotweni angithi ushilo ukuthi ubani ohlezi kuphi. Waye kuphi nendawo yena uButhelezi?
Wayephandle khona la ngoba isivalo sasingavaliwe sasivule.
Eduze kwakho.
Eduze kwami.
He was outside just right next to me because the door was not closed.
Yes, then what then transpired?
Kwasekwenzekani?
Wase-ke mengitshena igama lakhe Nkosi enkantolo wase ngibuzela nami sengimtshene lami ukuthi nguba.
Introduced himself, asked me who I was, and I also told him as to who I was.
Who introduced himself?
Ubani lo wayichaza?
Nguye kuqala.
He introduced himself first.
Yes, who is he?
Sikhuluma ngobani la?
Sikhuluma ngobaba uButhelezi.
Buthelezi.
Okay. After that, what then transpired?
Kwasekwenzekani ke emuva kwalokho?
Emveni kwalokho-ke wase ngibuza imibuzo naye ukuthi ngelanga lelo khoza le October yizo sengazi ama-26 or 27 wathi wawukuphi ngale date le.
He then also asked me questions about a day, although I can't remember whether it was the 26th or the 27th in October, and asked me as to where I was on that particular day.
Proceed.
Ngase ngimphendula mina Nkosi enkantolo ukuthi uma ukuthi ngangingekho emsebenzini ngisuke ngisekhaya.
I then answered him that if I am not at work, or if it is that I wasn't at work, then I would be at home.
What happened next?
Yebo.
Wase-ke engitshena ukuthi into ayifunayo iqiniso.
He then told me that the only thing that he was looking for was the truth.
Ngimbuze nami Nkosi enkantolo ukuthi liphi iqiniso lelo olifuna ngapha ngiyaphendula.
I then asked him, which truth are you referring to? Because I am answering you.
What then transpired?
Yebo.
Kwase-ke qhamuka umfo elingana nje nami wayenomzimba nje mude futhi.
And
Manje
then-
igama lakhe ngigcine ngazi ekugcineni ukuthi Maphumulo.
And then a guy, my lord, who is my height, but he is bigger than me in build, then appeared, and I ended up getting to know his name, that it's Maphumulo.
What happened when Mapumulo came?
Makufika uMaphumulo kwenzekani?
Naye wafika wangitshena lento ibikhulunywa ngoButhelezi Nkosi enkantolo ukuthi into abayifuna kimi iqiniso.
He told-
Ngiphinde ngibuze ukuthi liphi iqiniso olifuna apha ngiyaphendula.
He told me the same thing that Buthelezi told me, that the only thing that they were looking for or that they wanted was the truth. I said to him, but which truth? Because I'm answering you.
What happened next?
Yeah.
Emveni ngalokho kwase ngikhuluma bhena ngapha ecele kwami sekhuluma ukuthi yababona laba batabala kuwe la. Lembuzo bakubuza noma ungafuna ukwatshena iqiniso. Uzophuma ngikushiya emotweni.
Then Mabena answered and said that, you see these people that are here, if you don't want to tell the truth, I'm going to leave you in the vehicle. I'm going to get out of the vehicle and leave you here.
Then what happened?
Yebo.
Emveni lokho ke na uMabhena ngimbuza liphi iqiniso mina Nkosi enkantolo ukuzokhuluma kuwe Mabhena ngoba ngiyaphendula nami angingekho emsebenzini usuke ngisekhaya.
Then-
Negoli lelo ngibuza ngaligola nilazi. Ngazi lapho kugidwa khona uma ngibuthi ingoma eground resole kuphi le ngoma. Ya ngafe ngikhombisa ingoma igidwa la.
Then what
I
happened?
also answered Mabena and said, but which truth are you referring to? Because I am answering you, and I am not familiar with Gauteng. If you were to ask me where is it that the performance is being held, or where the song as well as the dance, then I'll be able to point that out to you.
Then what happened, sir?
Yebo.
Emveni ngalokho ke Nkosi enkantolo ngabona uMabhena ke khipha uplastic wase Truent. Ewufaka ke emekhaya.
Thereafter, I saw Mabena producing a Truworth plastic bag and placed it over my head.
Describe that plastic bag.
Awuchaze lo plastic.
Plastic wase Truent oba uplastic wase Truent usilver lawa wa silver manje ubhale uthi Truent la.
It's a
La
silver
phakathi naphakathi.
Truworth plastic bag, and it's written the Truworths.
Now that bag is placed over your head. Proceed from there.
Wawufaka ke ekhanda kuwena qhubeka.
Mawufaka uplastic ekhanda ngithi ngizama ke ukugquma ubaba utheleze ngiphresile ngapha uthi ngingakhona ukuphuma ngephandle ngoba ngangizophuma kube wayengekho ubaba utheleze ngapha engishovela phakathi.
And as I tried to jump, my lord, but I was pressed on the side by Buthelezi because he's the one that was blocking me to go out. Because if Buthelezi wasn't there, I was gonna get out of the vehicle.
How did you feel as that plastic bag was placed over your head?
Wazizwa kanjani ke ngaleso sikhathi uplastic lowo ufakiwe kuwena ekhanda?
Kwakubuhlungu ke Nkosi enkantolo ngoba oyelanga lokuqala lethenze.
It was hurting to me, my lord, because that was the first time that was happening.
Proceed further. What happened
Uthi
next?
namanje abona nje inhliziyo yami Nkosi enkantolo ngelapha kwakhe. Inhliziyo yami ibuhlungu kakhulu.
Even now, my lord, as I'm before you, yeah, my heart is very painful.
What happened next, sir?
Kwase kwenzekani ke?
Mabebona ukuthi abalungu leta abayenza ngifuna ukuphuma uJonathan ashove isitulo athi angivule imlenze isitulo singene la ke ngibe sona isitulo esingikhona ukumpresela ngapha uthi ngakhona ukuyalena ukuyala.
And my lord, the other thing that happened was that Jonathan would then push the seat backwards and instructed me to open my legs so that the chair or the seat can get in between my legs.
And how long do you estimate that for the first time the plastic bag was held over your head?
Cabanga ukuthi ke uplastic lowo wawugcinwe noma ufakwe la kuwena ekhanda isikhathi esingakanani?
Angeke ngikwazi Nkosi enkantolo ukumeshina isikhathi ngoba babawufaka bethi mangifuna ukukhuluma bazozwa ngami.
I wouldn't be able to tell the time, my lord, because they would place the plastic and they would say that if they would hear from me if I wanted to talk.
And was that plastic bag at some stage removed from your head?
Ngabe sikhona yini isikhathi la khona ke uplastic lowo wasuswa ekhanda lakho?
Babawususa mangithi manene ke.
When I would say to them stop, and then they would remove it.
So from what I'm hearing from you, are you saying that the plastic bag was repeatedly placed over your head at different times?
Engikuzwa kuwena ukuthi uplastic lona babephinda ngathi babewufaka bawukhiphe yiloko babekwenza kuwena.
Babawufaka mangithi mina manene ke bewukhiphe. Emveni ngalokho mangithi bethi khuluma mangithi ngithule phinde ubuyela kimi ekhanda.
Yes, they would place it, my lord, and then maybe I would say to them, wait, then they would remove it. If then I keep quiet, then they would put it back again.
And besides the plastic bag being placed over your head, was anything else done physically to you?
Ngaphandle kokufakwa kwawo uplastic kuwena ke ekhanda ngabakhona yini okunye ababekwenza kuwena la kuwena emzimbeni?
Yizo Nkosi enkantolo ngangingabona ukuthi ubani ongishaya ngepama la ngoba phela mangivaliswa engipressile khona ushaya ngepama ngangingabona ukuthi ngishaya ubani but kodwa umuntu engangibona wena ongishaya ngepama ilona ngangifuna ngangifesene na uJonathan ngoba ngayengeke ubaba uThelezi ukwazi ukugamanxa isandla ngishaya ngepama.
Although I would not be to see as to who was smacking me with an open hand, my lord, because the plastic would be covering my head. But I think that the person that would have been able to do that was the one that was facing me, which was Jonathan. Buthelezi from where he was, he could not have smacked me.
Now, there's one character that we missed earlier. Let me just add that character to the picture. Where was Mukhani at this time?
Wayekuphi ngaleso sikhathi uMukhani?
Umkhane ngamgcina esemotweni ehleli khona ngoba cha yena akazange ngibeke isandla Nkosi enkantolo umkhane.
The last time I saw I checked Mukhane, my lord, he was in the vehicle and Mukhane never assaulted me, my lord.
Now, in the vehicle, did Jonathan participate in the assaults that were perpetrated on you?
Emotweni uJonathan wayingxenye yini yalabo ababekushaya?
Yebo Nkosi enkantolo.
Yes, my lord.
And how did he participate?
Kanjani?
Angithi uma bhena mebamba uplastic uJonathan nawe uyangipressa ukuthi ngingakhona uqhuma.
When Mabena is holding the plastic, Jonathan would be pressing me so that I wouldn't be able to jump.
ngoba izandla isitulo semoto masimso izandla zakhe zayiphuma la ziza ke imvele so uma phela ngithi ungapha yena umsebenzi wakhe ufaka plastic bese bepressa lapha kumekhanda.
As the seat would be pressed, or the seat would be like this, my lord, so his hands would be protruding from the sides, and so he would be pressing me.
And the gentleman in the front passenger seat, did he do anything to you?
Lona yena owayehlezi eduze koJonathan phambili, kusihlalo singaphambili, khona wayekwenza yena.
Cha le wayexofela ifoni akazangenze nix nje.
No, that one was just busy with the phone. He never did anything to me.
Ngoba namanje ngengimkhomba ukuthi ngwela ngoba akaze akhiphe imask akazenze nix kimi.
Because even now, I won't be able to point out that person because he never even removed his mask. He didn't do anything.
And at some stage, did, roughly, before I go to that, how long do you think that plastic over your head, a slap here and there, how long do you think that event, that incident took place in that car?
Kulokufaka uplastiki bekhona ke ukushaya ngempama yonke le yanto eyenzeka emotweni ungathi yenzeka isikhathi esingakanani.
Because enkantolo kwahlaliwa lapha khona isikhathi. Yizo isikhathi ngeke ngisimeshini ukuthi isikhathi esingakanani.
We were there for some time, my lord, although I won't be able to say precisely how long.
Did you suffer any injuries as a result?
Ingaba khona ukulimala owakuthola ngenxa yalokho.
Because enkantolo ngingasho ukuthi mawufaka uplastic ekhanda kuzoba buhlungu ikhanda ngeke lihlale lingasha ngoba phela uplastic uyashisa because enkantolo and uvala umoya.
Yes, my lord, when a plastic is put over your head, there is no way that that wouldn't be painful or that your head wouldn't be burning because the plastic itches or it is there's heat in there.
Now, at some stage, did that, which was the incident in the car, did it stop?
Ingaba kwaphela se noma ke kwagcina sebengasaqhubeki sebekiyeka lokho babekwenza.
Bayenza phela ngingazi ukuthi ngoba isikhathi esingana lokho bephela beshitshana noJonathan ufana amabhena ufake emveni ngalokho ngabona seke sengikhishiwe emotweni sengibuyisela kule moto le.
Though I won't be able to tell as to how long because they were taking turns, my lord. It would be Jonathan, it would be Mabena, and then thereafter I was then taken out from that vehicle back I was then taken out of that white vehicle.
And when were you you were taken now from the GTI motor vehicle to which vehicle?
Mabe sebekhipha ke manje ku GTI bakufaka kuyiphi imoto?
Ngabuyela kwiFortuna.
I went back to the Fortuner.
Lela ngaba
The one driven by Mokhane.
What then transpired once you were placed in the Fortuna?
Emveni lokho kwaphunya ngazi imoto phela ngingazi ukuthi imoto zayihamba phi kuleya ndawo mina ngiyazi igola ngithi but imoto yayichuza khona lapho ngingazi ukuthi yakuphi.
Then the cars left there, my lord. The cars were traveling, but because I am not familiar with Gauteng, so I don't know where the cars were traveling.
Did those cars, is it one car or all three of the cars went?
Kwahamba imoto eyodwa noma zahamba zonke lezo imoto ezazilapha?
Zahamba zonke zoyi-3.
All three vehicles left.
And did those cars come to eventually come to some destination?
Ngabe uma ihamba ke kodwa khona yini egcineni la eza iyofika khona?
Kukhona ngoba ayihamba phambili yo le ayidrava uJonathan kuyile Fortuna kaMhali phakathi iHalport iza ngemuva mayihamba yaphathi kwale ndawo ezayihamba kuyo.
Yes, my lord, there was some destination because the one that was leading was the one driven by Jonathan, and then the Fortuner in the middle, and then the hard body.
Now, for contextual purpose, what time did you arrive at that engine garage before we leave engine garage? What time did you arrive from Carltonville at that engine garage?
Fika kuloya Carlton. Sorry. Uma nifika kuloya engine garage, kwakubani isikhathi? Nisuke Carlton, nafika ke manje kulo engine garage. Kwakubani isikhathi uma nifika kulo engine garage?
Ngebhadi nephutha because enkantolo isikhathaya ngangenaza ngasibonga nokusibonga ngoba inhliziyo yami yayibuhlungu serious yayibuhlungu.
Unfortunately, my lord, because I did not have time on me, so I cannot tell the time, and I can also say that I was in pain, my lord. Even my heart was sore.
But was it during the day, in the afternoon, dusk, or evening?
Kodwa ke ngokubheka kwakho kwakusekuseni kwakusemini kwakusebusuku.
kwaseqala ukuba mnyama ngoba ilanga lashesha ukushona kubanda kungoJune July.
It was now starting, sunset was starting, my lord, because it was in June, it's winter, so sunset is earlier in winter.
And is it your testimony that when you left engine garage, then was it already dark?
Ufakazi bakho ukuthi uma nisuka kona ke lapho engine kwaseqala ukuba kwasekumnyama.
Nakhona lapha sikhona wasubona ukuthi kumnyama.
Even there where we were, you could see that it was dark.
Now you arrive at the destination where you are driven now to the second spot. Take it from there, describe to the court what happened.
Nafika ke kule ndawo inaniya kuyona uma nisuka ke engine chaza ke.
Masifika le ndawo le esaya kuyo Nkosi enkantolo. Lapha I'm sure yizwa ngingabona ngathi makwakumnyama kodwa khona isitebhisi sasehlela ngale.
Although I couldn't see properly, my lord, because it was dark, but there was a staircase that was going down, but I didn't use it. I went on the side of it, or to the side of it.
And can we perhaps, for contextual purpose, describe that place? Were there any objects, items, or whatever you observed at that area that could be a beacon or some sort of location indicator to say, I was at this place because I saw these particular objects?
Kukhona ongakusho ngachaza uthi ke ngangisendaweni ethize ngoba ngabona lokhu kwakunento ethize kule ndawo kunento ethize khona ongakusho mayelana naleyo ndawo leyo uthi kwakunento ethize lapha.
Yebo Nkosi enkantolo ngasho ukuthi kwayinto engangiyibona ngoba mawuzobona i-truck leli lichitha udustbin ngathi lifunana endaweni la yesiganga khona. Isimithi bezochitha udustbin Nkosi enkantolo.
Yes, my lord, I can say so because if you see the truck that now removes or that take the dustbins, and so you would then clearly say or ask yourself, what does that truck want there? So surely it was there to offload in other words, the dustbins, my lord.
So, besides you observing that it's a perhaps
dumping site,
were there any other objects identifiable to you at that stage?
Ngaphandle kokuba usho ke ukuthi ke ila uthi khona ke ubona ukuthi leyo truck leyo ezolahla ke udoti khona okunye owawukubona ke.
Into engangiyibona ngangibona nelokhuza la. Mangimile kunamatanka lapha ngibuka amatanka ngithi phesheya lapha.
The other thing
ngathi nje igquma nya kunamatanka la ngathi akhantwa ngosamende.
One be standing there, you would see tanks from a distance, my lord. It's like they were built with some cement, my lord.
Now, what happened at that locality, at that location?
Kwenzekani lapha?
Mangifika ke Nkosi enkantolo lapha bangikhiphile emotweni lo umabhena.
On arrival or upon arrival there, they took me out of the vehicle.
Ngaphuma emotweni ngafika ngamaduzane nesitebhisi esiwathangemele.
Got out of the vehicle and he instructed me to stand next to that staircase.
What then happened?
Angibuze ukuthi namanje awufuna ukukhuluma iqiniso na ngimbuze mina ntathi liphi iqiniso engizolikhuluma wangiyasho namanje ukuthi mawungingekho emsebenzini ngisuke ngisephame.
Asked me, are you still not willing to tell the truth? I'm asked him which truth, because if I am not at work, I will be home.
What then transpired, sir?
Emveni ngalokho Nkosi enkantolo bese ke engikhipha lama-handcuff ngemuva ngingamazi la namanye ukuthi wawane kobani la ayemfase ngawo ngaphi le nsimbi lena le nsimbi le ngime phakathi naphakathi lesi stepisi.
From there, my lord, he then removed or loosened the handcuffs, that is now, as my hands were at the back, and then I don't know where he got the other handcuffs, and then he tied my hands on the steels, on the other side as well as on the other side. Now,
just for contextual purposes again, what were the weather conditions like on that day?
It was cold, my lord.
And what were you wearing on that day?
Ngangifaka ijini ehlaza ereleni. Ijini ereleni.
Okay, a relay jean.
Kuyisweater le Cavella.
Cavella sweater.
kube ivesta ngaphansi ivesta white.
Underneath, I was wearing a white vest
Kube iskipa seFabian.
as well as a Fabiani t-shirt,
Kube itracksuit engase ngenikwa uMabhena.
a tracksuit that was given to me by Mabena,
Bese bayijacket yami ke inkampani ayibhala ukuthi Impala Mine la.
as well as my company jacket, my lord, which was written Impala Mine here.
Let's clarify something. I heard something, but the interpretation came otherwise. With regard to the Cavella, was it you said suede or sweater?
Cavella.
The Cavella. Describe again something about the Cavella.
Ngazoma ngayigumula ngibona isikole senkantolo
Sorry,
efanana.
is it a type of a shoe, or is it a jacket, or is it whatever? Because I couldn't get the interpretation clearly.
Ukhuluma ngekhavela. Angazi ukuthi uzweni Mr. Ramsipile ukuthi khona akuzwile noma ngakuzwanga ngekhavela oyishilo.
Ngithe enyaweni ngangigqoke ikhavela
Yes.
enavy isweat.
I never heard about the feet. I'm
Oh,
hearing it for the first
no, that's
time.
fine. Okay, it's verified. Then what then transpired?
Kwase
once you-
kwenzekani?
Ke benze into bebeyenza kimi emontweni kosenkantolo ukuthi bafake uplastic la ngoba ngimeli.
They repeated the same thing that they did to me in the vehicle and placed the plastic as I was standing.
Who started that process now at this dumping site? Who started the process of putting the plastic bag over your head?
Senila kule ndawo ke manje ubani owaqala ukwenza leyo nto?
uMabhena oqala lento kosenkantolo ngoba yonke into ayenzeka uMabhena noJonathan.
Mabena is the one who started that, my lord, because everything that was happening, it would be started by Mabena and Jonathan.
And at the time this plastic bag was placed over your head, was there anything asked of you?
Ngalesikhathi lo plastic lona ufakwa kuwena ke ekhanda ikona into owawuyibuzwa.
Angithi kwakuthiwa khuluma wena man, khuluma wena man.
It would be said, hey, you
Ubuze ukuthi
speak,
ukhulume
speak. And I would ask, what should I speak? What should I speak?
And were you also physically assaulted besides the plastic bag at that area?
Kuleyo ndawo leyo ngaphandle kokufakwa ke uplastic ngaba wawushaywa nokushaywa yini?
Babengangishaya mina nkosenkantolo. Into babeyenza kimi khona lento babeyiphethe le khathi bengithele ngamanzi mabeyithi le yayingihlaba la. Azange bangishaya ngezandla plastic nalento le.
My lord, I was never assaulted. There's this particular object that they had. It would be the plastic, and then when they press it against me, it was, as the witness says it, it would like stab me or hurt me, but they never assaulted me.
Can we, for clarification purposes, describe that object? What is it exactly?
Iyini lento leyo usho uthi khona lento ababeyiphethe yayikuhlaba uma beyibeka la iyini?
Nkosenkantolo ngeke angiyazi igama la ngoba ngangiqala ngabo mina lento nkosenkantolo.
I don't know what its name is because for me it was the first time seeing it with them or from them.
Ngoba mayebambe so wawuyizwe maye-dry site iphephe lapha ekhanda bese mayeyithi ilethe into engathi ngumcibisholo la kimi so.
Because you would be able to see it, my lord, or in other words, when the head was turning, and you would just feel it would have this feeling as he was bringing it closer to your body.
Now let's further explore that because I want to be specific. Did it stab you or did it emit electrical current to you? That object.
Ingaba lokho kwakuyinto eyayikuhlaba noma kwakuba into ongathi ikhipha ugesi oze kuwena ukuzwisa ubuhlungu noma kwakuyinto eyayikuhlaba.
Yinto engathi yayilokhuza yayingihlaba ngoba yayichoka ngathi ngizwe ngathi la izandla ziyaqina zachoka amathumba ayalemala.
I would say a step because as you would just feel that even your intestine or inside that you are feeling injured as well as the hands like they are being stiff or getting stiff.
Ngoba nguye uMabhena wangigumula ijacket mina netracksuit washiyeka iskipa ngasigqoke ngaphansi ukuze akhona ukungithela ngamanzi.
Because Mabena is the one that would remove or that had removing my t-shirt as well as my jacket so as to be able for him to pour me with water.
Now, as a result of that device being used on you, did you sustain any injuries?
Ngokusetshenziswa kwaleyo nto isetshenziswa kuwena ingaba walimala yini ngenxa sikhuluma ngale nto manje eyodwa le ukusetshenziswa kwayo kuwena ngathi ngabe kwabangela ukuthi ulimale yini
angazi ngaphakathi namanje Nkosi enkantolo ngoba akaze ngihanjisiwe ku doctor.
I don't know internally my lord because I was never taken to a doctor.
Now,
Ama injury akhona ila ama hand cover lana namanje la.
The only injuries that are there now that
Engiwabona lapha ngamphuma khona igazi.
that I can still see where I was bleeding are the handcuff injuries my lord. The witness pointing to both his wrists.
and do you still to this day have those marks from the handcuffs caused by the handcuffs?
Lawo mamark lawo ke ama handcuff usenawo namanje.
No. Ama yana kuyabonakala nama lokungaba.
Yes, here they are. The witness pointing to both wrists, left and right.
Now, did that plastic bagging and the device being used at some stage stop to be used at that area?
Kwenziwa ke lokho kwase kufikelela ekuthini ke baze bangabusaqhubeka bayeke ukwenza.
Bakwenza ngithile baze bakhathala Nkosi enkantolo.
Yes, up until they got tired my lord.
Then what happened?
Ngoba kwaze kwasondela yena ubaba lo umkhana. Abatshente mana ayikhumelela kweje nganze igama la demand lisho ukuthini?
Demand.
Ngazi lisho ukuthini.
Okay. Because Mukhane came closer my lord and he used this word which I don't know as to what it is. What does it mean? Demand.
Now, as that was transpiring at that location, at the dumping site, did there come a time when other people came whilst you were there?
Nise lapho ke abantu abafika nise kuleyo ndawo leyo.
Wafika umama lo umhola nobaba lo Gininda.
Yes,
Omunye angimazi lo walele nto le ofaka lento ama class band anlazi igama lakhe namanje anlazi.
Sergeant Mukhula as well as Brigadier Gininda arrived. There was another one. Umuntu wesilisa lo ma-class band.
Yeah.
There was another gentleman, my lord, but I don't know his name. I don't know who that person or that gentleman was.
And what happened when Brigadier Gininda, Sergeant Mohola, and the gentleman in braces arrived?
Kwenzeka mabefika.
Weza kimi yena ubaba lo Gininda. Engibuza ukuthi namanje angifuni ukukhuluma iqiniso.
Gininda came to me and still asked me, do you still not want to tell the truth?
And then what happened?
Mina ngamphendula lapho ukuthi angizazi ukuthi ngangekuphi ngangekho emsebenzini usuke ngisekhaya.
I answered him and then I said to him that I don't know where I was because if I am not at work, then I will be at home.
Now, both Sergeant Mohola and Brigadier Gininda testified in this court to say that they were never at that site on the 19th of June 2020.
Bobabili ke uSergeant Mukhula kanye naye uBrigadier Gininda bethule ubufakazi bathi abakaze nge-19 ka June 2020 baya kule ndawo le wena oyishoyo.
From my colleague that now, I just want to seek clarity from the defense that we are now on the 19th or on the 18th.
Oh, sorry. It's my mistake, my lord. Thank you, my colleague. Yeah, on the 18th.
Nje
at
iphutha
that
ke
spot, at the
ngedate
dumping site. So,
sakhuluma nge-18 babethule ubufakazi babo ke uSergeant Mukhula kanje naye kuBrigadier Gininda ukuthi ngazo le date le 18 abazikaze baya kule ndawo oyishoyo wena.
Iphutha abalikhuluma Nkosi enkantolo.
He made a mistake my lord.
now, you testify that Brigadier Gininda asked you some questions and you replied to him. What then transpired?
Ushilo ukuthi uBrigadier Gininda wasekumuza imibuzo edlula wena kwasekuthini emva kwalokho.
Wahamba ke bakhuluma futhi bodwa apha ngingabezwe bakhuluma bethini.
He then left. They spoke amongst themselves one side my lord. I don't know what it is that they were talking.
Ngoba umuntu engangimbona ukuthi ngeqiniso nje limsuka phambi Nkosi enkantolo. Ngangibona into eyenziwa ke umkhana ka. Ayengayithandi total. Angifuni umqampela amanga umntwana abantu.
And the person that I could see, my lord, who was against everything that was happening to me, I don't want to tell lies on his behalf or and lie about him, my lord. Mukhane didn't like what was being done to me.
Drive imoto ayilokho engibuke njalo esibukweni ngibona ukuthi inhliziyo yakhe into le ayimjabulisanga kakhulu.
Because even as he was driving the vehicle, my lord, I could see that he was using the rear view mirror, or he was using the mirror which was inside the vehicle, and you could see that his heart was in pain, my lord, because he really didn't like that.
Understand?
Ukuthi ke wawuyibona ukuthi inhliziyo yakhe ibhlungu wawuyibona kanjani leyo nto leyo?
ngayibona ukuthi oqala inkosi enkantolo eze kimi ukuzokhuza.
I saw it the first time, my Lord, that he came to me to come and stop.
Ngoba nasemotweni wayelokho engibheka ngibuthi ngiright yini.
In the-
Ngithulele ngamphenduli.
Even in the vehicle, he would look at me and ask me if I was okay. I would just keep quiet and not respond to him.
Ngoba nje igama engikhumbula ngiphendula ngathi amntwana lo ahle napha ngithi uNkulunkulu ambusise. Namanje ngisakusho. La lapha lele khona ngithi uNkulunkulu ambusise.
Because the only word that I would say to him, to tell the one that was next to him that as he was seated there, that God should bless him, even where he is resting now, I'm still saying that God should bless him. Sikhuluma ngamaBhena.
Yebo nkosi enkantolo
Yes,
no
ma'am.
Jonathan ngithi uNkulunkulu ababusise.
Yes,
Namanje
my Lord.
ngisasho.
Together with Jonathan, I'm still saying that God should bless them.
Now, what then transpired once Kininda has asked you those questions?
Kwase
After
kwenze-
they've had their meeting.
Baqedile ngomhlangano ababenawo uGininda ukubuzile imibuzo banomhlangano baqeda kwase kwenzekani?
Ngase ke ngena ke emontweni lapho ukhala khona umkhani. Imoto esihamba ngingayazi ihamba apha. Ngimbona ngayento waphuma bheka ngapheni bakuginenda.
Then got into the vehicle, my Lord. I don't know where the vehicle was traveling to, and I also did not see as to where Mr. Kininda went to.
And
Ngoba
the other,
bazona
so,
imoto-
sorry, Mr. Ntanzi. And the other two vehicles, the Nissan Hardbody and the GTI, did you see where they went?
Ezinye imoto lezi ezimbili, i-GTI, Nissan Hardbody, ngaba wabona ukuthi zaya kuphi zona?
Senyuka nazo nkosi enkantolo ngangayibona ukuthi ishona phi nazo nje.
We traveled-
Sihanjwa ngangayibona ukuthi babheka kuphi.
We traveled with them, my Lord, but as we went ahead with our journey, I didn't see as to where they went to.
Now, eventually, where were you driven or taken by Mohani and Mabena?
Ekugcineni ke wase usiwa kuphi ke uMukhane noMabhena?
Angisayikhumbuli police station nkosi enkantolo.
I can't recall the police station, my Lord.
Okay. Then you were booked in the cells until the following day, correct?
Wase ubuyiselwa ke emaselini kwaze kwayilanga elilandelayo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I want us to move to the events of the 19th of June 2020. Do you recall the events that transpired that day?
Usakhumbula okwenzeka ngazo i-19 June 2020?
Do you still remember the incident of the 19th of June?
Yebo nkosi enkantolo.
Yes, my Lord.
ngiyakhumbula.
I do.
What transpired on that day?
Kwenzekani ngalelo langa?
Ngalolo langa lele ekseni nje ngoba umkhani wangivusa nje ngizilalela ngoba ngangigodola emaseleni phakathi.
On that day in the morning, because I was woken up by Mukhane because I was just laying there in the cells and feeling cold.
Wangikhipha ke sahamba phinde futhi sangena kuye imoto lapha epaka khona lapha.
He took me and then we got into the vehicle.
Now, before that, let me cut it here and track back a bit. You are now booked at the police station. Did you notify any of the police officers, the cell master, anyone at the police station that you had just been assaulted by the people that brought you to that police station?
Manje uma ke emaselini ke manje ngabe khona yini owamtshela ke kulaba mhlambi naba bagada amaseli osebenza khona lapha epolice station ukuthi uqeda ushaywa ke wena manje yilabo bebekade behamba nawe?
Nkosi enkantolo into eyenzekela e-police station la ama-police station lawa la awafani abona lapha ePretoria North alikho iphoyisa lake lafika ke ngoba umuntu mayephethe ukhiya yokuvulela eseleni ehamba nalowo ahamba naye uMabhena engekho umuntu wasestationini ngizoreportela abantu.
My Lord, the police station do not function the same or don't do things the same. There in Pretoria, no one ever came to me, my Lord, because when you are being taken and the key is held by the very same person that you are with, who am I going to report to?
Kube yena nkosi enkantolo okukhombisa isiport thatha naso isiport thatha nazo ingubo engekho umuntu osebenza la we-uniform kuyibo ekhiye baqede bahamba.
He's the one who's showing you what to take or where to go, and there is no one who is from the police station. Then there is no one that I can report to.
Ngoba nokufika kwami e-police station kwakehla yena umkhani angene ngaphakathi ngamazi ukuthi apha angena yele ngisheke noMabhena la nothi emveni kwesikhathi nangeqhamuka sevula athi angiye phakathi.
Because what would happen, my lord, we would arrive at the police station, Mukhane would go in, I would remain behind with Mabena, he would then come back, he would open for me.
Now, I'll ask it again for fear of repetition. During the two assaults at engine and at the dumping site, did you physically have any visible injuries except the wrists that were injured, the marks that you say you suffered as a result of the handcuffs?
Ngaphandle kwalama mark owashilo ne othi iwona ke asekhona ke noma sabonakalayo. Khona into okunye ukulimala okwakukhona owawunako okwakubonakala kulamahlandla amabini owashaywa ngawo. Khona ukulimala okwakubonakala owawunako ngaphandle kwama marks la okhulume ngawo ama handcuffs.
akukho Nkosi enkantolo kuphela umzimba yawozuthi umzimba uhlukumezekile.
No, none, my lord, but one could just feel that the body had been abused.
Now, just back a bit as well. When that device was used, the one that you said was used on your torso, did you suffer any injuries? Did you react anyhow? Did you cry?
Nkathi ke isetshenziswa leyanto uthi ayisetshenziswa kubona ke ingabe khona yini okwenza ngaba wakhala yini?
Nkosi enkantolo ngangikhala.
My lord, I was crying.
Now, you are on the 19th of June 2020 by the person that booked you. Take it from there. What happened next?
In 19 wakhishwa ke kwasekwenzekani?
Ngayibona imoto ihamba ngazi ukuthi yakuphi.
Just saw the car traveling. I didn't know where it was driving to, my lord.
Did that motor vehicle finally reach a destination?
Khona la eyafika khona.
Ikhona lapho eyafika khona yangena khona ngoba lapho la masingena thina kunabantu babecula ngathi kune strike khanyana lapho.
Yes, my lord.
Angazi le ndawo enkulu.
It reached somewhere because where we were driving or where we arrived, it was like there were some people demonstrating there, some sort of strike, but I don't know that place. I didn't know the place.
And did that motor vehicle enter premises where it had to stop on your way?
Khona la eyangena khona kufanele ukuthi noma ke la eyafika yema khona.
Yebo kukhona kodwa igama lakhona angilazi ukuthi.
Yes, my lord, there is, but I don't know the name of that place or area.
Proceed further, sir.
Qhubeka.
Mayifika khona imoto ngafika ngahlala khona emotweni akaze ngiphume emotweni.
When it arrived there, my lord, I sat in the vehicle. I never went out of the vehicle.
Waphuma umkhane ke ekhuluma nefoni na uMabhena ekhuluma nefoni.
Mukhane as well as Mabena went out, my lord. They were speaking using their phones.
Ngoba sahlala nje phela isikhathi eside kuleya ndawo imoto imile nje.
Because we spent quite some time there, the car just not moving, stationary there.
Just one last question, and I'll take it after the long adjournment. Evidence was led through the aerial expert that there was a stage where the motor vehicle for 10 minutes or so was stationary at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. Do you recall the incident?
Kunobufakazi ke bebukhona ke lana ke bawo ke umbiko lo wana we-AVL ukuthi kunesikhathi ke la khona ke imizuzu eyishumi la imoto yayimi khona ke eChris Hani Baragwana kodwa ke ungaphenduli ke asize umshoshisi uthini.
Object. I want to object. Evidence it was unlocked and the fact that it was stationary is not correct.
Let me correct myself. Sorry for putting that version. Where it says GPS unlocked at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital, do you recall?
Uyakhumbula ke ubufakazi la bashilo ke mabekhala ngendlela yabo ukuthi ke isho ukuthi iGPS ke leyo ke yayi avaliwe ke. Uyakhumbula ubufakazi lo bekhuluma ukuthi imoto ke khona la etshengisa khona iseChris Hani Baragwana.
Yebo ngiyakhumbula.
I remember, my lord.
Stay with that incident at Baragwanath because I'll take it after that. My lord,
So,
it will be an opportune moment for the long adjournment. It is exactly what my lord.
Okay, 2 o'clock. Back.
You are telling me, but I didn't look at it or I didn't see the time because I didn't have time on me.
And then at 4:50 a.m. on the 19th, you were taken or booked out by Mabena on the basis that you are being now taken to Foslora's Magistrates Court. Do you recall that?
Okwenzeka-ke nanjengoba asho-ke ukuthi wangena-ke ku-2:30 ekuseni wase uyakhishwa-ke asithi nje isikhathi samahora amabili nemizuzu ngo-4:50 ukhishwa uyena uMabhena athi ukuhambisa enkantolo yase-Phosphorus uyakhumbula ngazo i-19.
Kosenkantolo akazangitshela ungihambise ekatolo mina.
My lord, he never
Ngikhipha nje masele ngangena emontweni.
My lord, he never informed me that he was taking me to court. He just removed me from the cells and placed me in the vehicle.
Ukuthi imoto yayihamba kuphi ngeke ngikhombe namanje.
As to where the car was traveling, I won't be able to point out even now.
But the point that I want to bring home is this. You were only in the cells for 2 hours and odd minutes. Did you manage to sleep in that 2 hours odd minutes until you were booked out at 4:50 a.m.?
Into engifuna ukuyisho kuyona noma engiyivezayo kuwena ukuthi kwakuwamahora amabini nemizuzu engaba 20 uvalelwe noma ubuyisiwe wase uyakhishwa-ke kuleso sikhathi leso samahora amabili kanye no-20 minutes. Ngifuna ukwazi-ke kuwena leso sikhathi so walala yini?
Kosenkantolo ngisho ukuthi angilalanga ngoba kwakubanda ngeke ukuthi ufike ngubeni futhi uthole ugodola.
My lord, I would say that I didn't sleep because it was cold. There is no way that you can just get into bed and sleep immediately, my lord, while getting cold.
Okunye ngangimanzi athi abantu bengithele ngamanzi ngangeke ngifike ngithole ubuthongo same time.
The other thing is that I was wet because they had poured water on me, so there's no way that I would have slept immediately.
Now, the other point that I want to bring across is the following. You are booked out in that time period, 8:30 until 2:30 the following morning, and you were taken to Carltonville, you were taken to Engine Garage, where you allege that you were tortured and assaulted. You are now taken to the dumping site, and the rough estimate is about 17 that you were booked out. How did you feel physically about having spent that lot of time in the hands of the police?
Uma ubheka-ke lesiya sikhathi lesiyana owakhishwa ngaso kwaba isikhathi obuyiswa ngaso singathi-ke amahora lawo-ke ayishumi nesikhombisa u-17 hours uwonke lo wawuzizwa kanjani-ke ngaleso sikhathi leso ngoba ushilo ukuthi wakhishwa naya-ke eCarltonville nahamba naya kwa-engine la uthi khona babekuhlukumeza khona wawuzizwa kanjani?
Angizizwa ngekho right phambi kwenkosi enkantolo ngoba uma kwenziwa into eqalayo enhlizweni yakho nasemoyeni wakho ukuzibona ukuthi kahlahle lo muntu lo yini le ayenza kimi.
I didn't feel that good, my lord, and also when something is being done or you are experiencing something for the first time, you ask yourself, what is it exactly that this person is doing?
But physically as well, the point that I want to get, were you still physically fit as in the morning when you wake up, or were you exhausted at that time?
Engifuna ukwazi kwena-ke ukuthi-ke ngokwasemzimbeni-ke wawuzizwa kanjani ukuthi wawusenalendlela wawusenalamandla nangendlela owawuvuke ngayo nkathi uvuka ekuseni ngo8:30 wawusazizwa ngaleyo ndlela? No, my lord.
Now, Mohane has testified in this matter in this court, and he has testified that the reason why the car was stationary at the engine garage is because it encountered mechanical failure. What is your comment?
Kubufakazi bakhe abethulile kule nkantolo khanye uthe imbangela yokuthi imoto ke lapha kula engine garage ingahambi ime ingoba imoto yayinenkinga. Uthini-ke wena kulokho?
Ngiyaphikisana nalokho nkosi enkantolo ngoba nomgomezelo ngangishilo ukuthi ngicela umtshente uyaphosisa ukuthi imoto yayihamba igule endleleni.
I dispute that, my lord, because I even informed Mr. Mgomezulu to put it to him that I'm disputing the fact that his testimony that the vehicle had problems, mechanical problems.
And then that car was stationary for some period until either him, Mabena, or Jonathan phoned a mechanic that came and resolved that problem.
Uthi-ke ifuthi imoto yema lapho-ke isikhathi-ke kwaze kwayinkathi la khona-ke noba uyena uMabhena noJonathan baye bafonela-ke umakhenikhi ukuthi-ke azobheka imoto.
Akekho umakhenikhi owafika nkosi enkantolo lapho?
No mechanic arrived there, my lord.
Now, just to wrap this point up, from 8:30 a.m. on the 18th of June 2020 to 2:30 a.m. the 19th June 2020. The police officers, Mabena, Mohane, that you were in custody of, did they give you food in that period from 8 a.m. until you were booked at the cells in Pretoria North?
Ukusuka ke ngalesiya sikhathi ukhishwa ngaso ke emaselini kwaku 8:30 isikhathi ekseni kwaze kwayoshaya ke u2:30 kusuku ke olulandelayo ingaba bakunikeza ukudla kulesiya sikhathi lesiya
Kwasenkantolo akaze ngithengele ukudla. Ngamuzwa na usatshela umkhala entshenti wayengithengele ukudla. Uzongithenga kanjani ukudla kumele into eniutravel sizwile ukuthi uyedelela.
My lord, they never bought a food, and I heard Sergeant Mukhane when he testified about that. How were they going to buy food for me when it was they had told me that we heard that you are disrespectful?
Now we're going to, okay, before that, you've testified about the assault and torture at the dumping site. What was the condition of your clothing after those acts were perpetrated on you?
Sizwile ke usitshela ke uthi kule ndawo ke le ukuthi wabona khona ke itruck la ikuyitruck ke eyolahla khona ke umgqomo ke ukuthi ila kwashayelwa khona ke noma ke ohlukunyezwa khona manje ke impahla lezi owuyigqokile zazinjani ke ngenxa yalesimo yaloko kwakwenzeka khona lapho
Kwasenkantolo ngaphuma igazi emakhaleni ngikhishwa lento ababengithosha ngayo. Ngoba namanje usayitshela umkhulu angilokho ngimtshene njalo ukuthi angifunele iskipa sami kusayitshela Mabena. Azange ngithole impendulo nama.
My lord, I was bleeding my nostrils as a result of that object that was being used. I also made a request to Sergeant Mukhula, ne?
Mukhula.
Yes, I made a request to Sergeant Mukhula to get my T-shirt from Mabena.
Sonke nebhuluke nelokhoza neskipa ngesifana phakathi nevest lemhlophe.
It was my pants, the T-shirt, as well as the white vest that I was wearing underneath.
Now, let us fast forward now to the incident at Krisani Baragwana, where the motor vehicle you were traveling in says GPS unlocked. Do you perhaps have an idea or pay a recollection what was happening, the reason why it said GPS unlocked at the stage?
Khona ke la khona imoto eyayise eKrisani Baragwana futhi ke ngokwalombiko walento abayibiza ngokuthi AVL kubhaliwe ke laphayana ukuthi ke iGPS unlock ngendlela yakhe abayibhala ngayo ebhalwe ngayo laphayana ungabe uyazi ukuthi kwakwenzekani nkathi ke imoto yayilapho eKrisani Baragwana
Cha Kwasenkantolo angizazi lezo zinto lokhuzami lezo zeyimoto.
No, I'm not familiar and I know nothing with regards to issues of vehicles.
Now, perhaps let me clarify it. I see that it's not clear to you. Did there come a time at Krisani Baragwana Hospital where you picked somebody else that got into the Toyota Fortuner?
That question is leading.
As the court pleases, my lord, I'll rephrase. Evidence has been led in this court, and a version was put to Mabena, I'm sorry, to Mukhane, that according to the instructions, you said that you picked up Colonel Rapadu at Krisani Baragwana Hospital. Do you recall that version?
Kathi ke uSergeant Mukhane elana ke enkantolo ke watshelwa ke ukuthi ke okushiwoyo ke inkulumo ethi ke kwaxoshwa ke noma kwagitsheliswa uKolonel Rapadu khona ke esibhedlela eKrisani Baragwana. Uyakhumbula lokho?
Yebo ngiyakhumbula Nkosenkana.
Yes, I do recall, my lord.
Describe the circumstances relating to that incident.
Awusho ke ukuthi isimo nje ngokumayelana nalokho kwenzekani.
Nkosenkantolo. Mina oqala ngangazi ukuthi lapha kuphi. Lapha esafetha thatha khona ubaba lo wangena ke emontweni.
Firstly, my lord, I didn't know where that specific area was. The area where the gentleman who got into the vehicle was picked up.
Ngoba masifika lapha safika sami ngoba kwakuphuma amatekisi la eminyango egate la khona la.
Because when we got there, my lord, we stood there, we were there for a while because taxis were driving out of there, getting out of the gate.
Masifika ke lapha Nkosenkantolo bafona yena uMkhane noMabhena bafuna ngazi ukuthi bafone laba.
When we arrived there, my lord, then Mabena and Mukhane phoned. I didn't know who they were calling.
Proceed, sir.
Waqhamuka ke ubaba lo gcineze lapha enkantolo Tower Apart no mama nengane.
And then the gentleman who ended up being here in court, that is now Mr. Rapadu, appeared together with a lady and a child.
Wafika wakhuluma nabo ke babekhuluma phandle noThemuntweni.
He spoke to them and they were speaking outside, not in the vehicle.
Emveni ngalokho ngambona yena ubaba lo ekhipha ikhiyeni kumama lo wayeqhamuke naye.
Thereafter, I saw the gentleman taking out keys and giving them to the lady that he had appeared with.
Ubaba ke lo wayesengena ke emontweni lana ngoba ngangihleli ngemuva ngangihleli naye la yena ehlele emveni kaMkhane mina ngihlele emveni kaMabhena.
And then he got into the vehicle, my lord. I was seated, he was seated behind Mukhane and I was seated behind Mabena.
After you've picked up Colonel Rapadu, where did the car then leave that area?
Yasiyasuka ke imoto lapho senimgibelisile emotweni yasiyahamba imoto lapho.
Yeah, uyahamba ngiyazi indlela ukuthi eya kuphi.
Yes, my lord, it left. I don't know the route that it took as to where it was going.
And did there come a time when that car reached a particular destination?
Khona la eyayofika khona.
Yeah.
Ukhona la eyahamba yayoma khona.
Ikhona apha ehamba yoma khona Nkosi.
Yes, my lord, it did.
And now, with the background of this case, do you recall where that car stopped?
Usakhumbula ke ukuthi yahamba yayoma kule moto le.
The area now that you know now, as you testify, which area did it stop?
Zika ngithi manje sokumela yiphi leyo ndawo yahamba yayoma kuyona ke.
Nkosi enkantolo imoto yahamba izindlela ngingayazi lapha yayihamba khona. Kodwa lapha yafika yama khona kwakune gate lapha. Igate nje eso kuna ibiyiwe le ndawo le. Igate yakona ibhale uthi Orlando ngoba ngangifike ngimekhela ukuthi lapha ngema khona ngifike ngibuka ukuthi imoto inkulu.
My lord, the car traveled. Although I don't know the route that it took as to where it specifically it was traveling, but where it reached or the final destination, there was a gate, and the place is fenced. And as I looked at the gate, it was written Orlando because I made sure wherever a vehicle stopped, I would check as to where that is.
If I may stop you there, Mr. Ntanzi, the evidence of Mohani is that morning, the instruction from Colonel Gininda was for them to deviate from taking you to Foscoras Match Court to take you to Moroka Police Station to meet Colonel Rapadu for the purposes of obtaining a statement from you. Did you recall that evidence being set in this court?
Kunobufakazi ke obethula phambi kwale nkantolo bakhe ke uSergeant Mukhane ukuthi ke ekukhulumiseni kanye naye uBrigadier Gininda wabatshela ukuthi abangabusaqhubeka ke baye bakhambise babuse eFosloras enkantolo kodwa abahambe nawo baye nawe eMoroka ku Colonel Rapadu. Uyakhumbula uMukhane esho kanjalo ngenhloso yokuthi ke uColonel Rapadu ayothatha istatement kuwena. Uyamkhumbula uMukhane esho kanjalo?
Ngiyamkhumbula ngoba kwakusho uMkhane.
I remember because it was said by Mukhane.
Now, that morning, according to his evidence, Mohani, is that you were taken to Colonel Rapadu for that purpose of obtaining a statement. Did the car go to Moroka Police Station that morning?
Ufakazi bakhe ushilo ke uMukhane ukuthi wathathwa ke wahanjiswa waya eMoroka ngenhloso yokuthi ke uColonel Rapadu uthatha istatement kuwena ke. Ngabe wasiwa yini eMoroka lalela langa?
Nkosi enkantolo ngiyile police station kwenye police station kwaba ngihanjiswa khona ngumkhane ekuseni.
I did go to a police station where I was taken to by Mukhane in the morning.
Ngafika wapaka imoto lapha ngangithi kwakunabantu abavuma ingoma ngathi une strike kanyana.
And upon arrival there, he parked the vehicle where earlier on said that there were some people that looked like they were engaged in a strike or a demonstration.
Masifika khona waphuma umkhane no Sergeant Mabhena ngashika nabo Jonathan laba babengigadile.
When we got there, Mabhena and Mukhane got out and I remained with the likes of Jonathan who were looking after me.
What happened next?
Mabehambile isikhathinyana nje babuye sahlala emotweni khona la nabo la.
And
bevule lokhozi hithala ehleli lapha.
After a while they came back and we sat there for a while and they had switched the heater on.
Emveni kwesikhathi ngayibona imoto iphuma ke ngingayazi ukuthi iyaphi yaza phuma imoto kwahanjiwa futhi.
After a while, the car then drove out. I don't know where they were going to, but the cars left.
Now, at that stage, when the car arrived, we now know that it's Moroka police station. It was there until 11:47. Did a statement to Colonel Rapadi.
The witness never said that he was at Morocco. He said he was in a certain place that he doesn't know.
Let me rephrase it, Manat. At that particular police station that you now say you didn't know at the time that this was Moroka, did Colonel Rapadi take a statement from you?
Kule ndawo ke noma kule police station lena ke oyishilo ukuthi awungayazi ke ingaba uKolonel Rapadu kune statement awasithatha yini kuwena?
Cha Nkosi enkantolo.
No, my lord.
And angizange ngimbone kuseni. Ngimbone isikhathi ngiqala ukumbona ngena kimi emontweni lesi sibhedlela lapha bamthatha khona.
And I did not see him there, my lord. I only saw him at the hospital where they picked him up there.
Now, evidence led in this court.
Sorry, my lord.
Sorry.
I don't know whether it was missed by the state or the defense because the witness said he looked at the gate and they saw it was written Orlando. I don't know whether they missed it.
No, I'll come to that. I'll come to that. I'm the one that interrupted the witness. Sorry, Mr. Jonas. Now, evidence led in this court is that from 11:47, the car then travels to Foslora's court, and according to the testimony of Mabena, I'm sorry, I keep on saying Mabena, Mohani, is that the purpose was to take you to Foslora's court for the purposes of appearances on the Nongoma murder case and the Foslora's drug case. What's your comment?
Ubufakazi bakhe ke uMkhane uthe inhloso ke yokuthatha ke kwakuthi ke uye enkantolo eFosloras la uyozoyobingelela khona ke imanje uyibingelelela icala ke la kwaNongoma lokubulala kanye futhi ke drugs.
Yes.
Kanye futhi neledakamizwa lase Fosloras.
Nkosi enkantolo umkhane wangithatha wangisa lapha engisa khona ngangazi nokuthi court ngoba akaze ngene nakulo court le. Ngangisemontweni phandle akaze ngene selena secourt wangishiya emontweni bangigada uJonathan wangena nefayela elibrown wangena ngaphakathi waphindwa buye wangithola emontweni kwaphindwa kwahanjiwa akaze ngiyibona ukuthi iqatolo olini mina.
My lord, such a to a place I didn't know that it was a court because I never went inside. He alighted from the vehicle, left me in the vehicle with the likes of Jonathan, went out with a brown file, and he came back and we left again. I never went inside there.
Ngoba nomuntu lo oweza kimi ephethe ibhuku wayeza wangilunguza so wathi ngubonga Ntanzi ngathi mina yebo baba yebo wajika nebhuku lela liphethwe wabuyela phakathi akaze ngiphume emontweni Nkosi enkantolo.
Even the person that came to me, my lord, who had a book in his hand, looked at the book and asked me, are you Bongani Ntanzi? I then confirmed, and then he went back in. I never got out of the vehicle.
Now, evidence further given by Mohani is that from Fosloras, they then, Fosloras Magistrates Court, they then drove back again to Moroka police station because Mabena had forgotten his memory stick and keys at some office in the police station. What is your comment?
Obunye ufakazi ke abethuleke ukuthi waphoqeleka ke ukuthi sebehambile noma senihambileke babuyeleke khona lapho nanjengoba uMabena wayekhohle khona lapho ke ikhiye zakhe.
Nkosi enkantolo akulona iqiniso le.
No, my lord, that's not the truth.
Now, could you take it from the time now when you return to Moroka police station where the car shows to AVL? It was stationary for 2 hours at Moroka police station on the afternoon of the 19th of July 2020. I mean, not 19th of June 2020, I'm sorry.
Uma sesingabuyela ke manje sesimuva ke kunala khona ke AVL noma umbiko lo yana ke uchaza ukuthi imoto ihamba kuphi ushoyo khona ke ukuthi imoto yayimileke isikhathi esingangamahora amabili.
What happened now at Moroka at that time?
Khona ke police station yase Moroka isho ke ukuthi kwenzekani ngalesi sikhathi lesiya eMoroka imoto imile lapha yana lamahora amabili.
Nkosi enkantolo lapha engangimkhona mina lapha engaqala ngabona khona igate lelibhala ukuthi Orlando kwamiwa isikhathi la khona uraphatha ekhona.
My lord, where the car was parked, and where I had seen where the gate was written Orlando. I was assaulted there in the presence of Rapadu.
Ngishawe inkosi enkantolo uPrakathi igininde ekhona naye lapha ngangisho khona ehlele elekhuze nesitulo lekhuze nemoto ibhuthile yangemuva ngoba ubaba lo wayebhala angimazi wayebhala ukuthi ngoba wayephethe ne-ID number yami.
And I was being assaulted, my lord. Brigadier Kinenda was seated there at the back of the vehicle, seated at the boot of the vehicle. The gentleman that was writing, he was also writing, but I don't know what he was writing. He was also in possession of my identity document.
Now let's pause, and can you describe the area where this assault occurred at Orlando?
Awuyisho ke le ndawo lena ewawushayelwa kuyona ke eOrlando.
Inkosi enkantolo lapha uyehla umgwaqo uyajika la ufesana negate uyaphela.
My lord, you go down the road, and as it takes a curve, and then it faces a gate, and that is now the end of the road. Yebo.
Indawo ebiye ngaphakathi ngale khona ama-ATM ngale yizo ngingabonanga noma right noma njani kodwa akhona ama-ATM ayidite lahliwa leya kubiyiwe street la.
It's a place that is fenced, my lord. On the other side, there are ATMs. I'm not able to tell whether there were ATMs that were functioning or not.
Ngapha ngemuva kwami kugretiwe kunendudumo ebekiwe njengathi igcwele amaphepha lapho kuyabona ukuthi kuyashiswa nokushiswa nje izinto mhlawumbe amaphepha lapho.
And then just right behind me, it's a grated area. You can see that there are some documents there. There's some sort of some documents. I don't know whether they are being bent. Yeah.
Ngoba mangifika lapho ngafika ngakhishwa umabhene emotweni umkhana akazakhishwe akazange aphume emotweni.
When I got there, it is Mabena who took me out of the vehicle. Mohane never took me out of the vehicle.
Naye ubaba lo waphuma ephethelele ifayile librown eliphethele.
Umuthi ubaba lo?
Ubaba lo uzezo testify ubaba lo Rapatu.
Okay. And the gentleman that is now Mr. Rapatu came out of the vehicle.
Now,
he was having carrying an envelope of this size, my lord.
Now, just for clarification purposes, at that place, the Toyota Fortuner that we were transported in, was it the only car that traveled to that locality?
Le ndawo okhuluma ngayo iToyota Fortuner iyona kuphela imoto eyahamba yaya.
Cha zazikhona zoJonathan anti babe khona la Nkosi enkantolo.
No, the cars that were driven by Jonathan were also there.
So it was the Toyota Fortuner. Was Jonathan driving the GTI VW motor vehicle that you previously referred to?
Wayehamba ngeGTI uJonathan.
uJonathan hamba ngeGTI le hard body angimazi lo wayedriver na.
Yes, he was driving the GTI. I don't know the person that was the driver
But
of the hard body.
wayenomzimba nje kahle.
But it was a well-built person.
Now proceed. What transpired at the place?
Qhubeka ke.
Masifika lapho kwaqhamuka yena kuBratick into ehamba nayo usayitshene Mkhula.
Whilst there, Brigadier Kininda arrived in the company of Sergeant Mukhula,
Nalaye ke lo baba lo ama-class band engalazi igama lakhe.
as well as the gentleman with the name I don't know.
Bafike ke mabefika la ugcina indawo ezake ngoba abezanga bakuraphathwa esahleli phansi ebuka lezi zinto ayibuka la ugcina indawo ezake wangibuza manje awufuni ukukhuluma iqiniso na.
Kininda then approached me. Rapatu was still there looking at whatever that it is that he was looking at. Kininda asked me, are you still not willing to tell the truth?
Now, before Brigadier Gininda and Sergeant Mukhula arrived at that place, was anything done to you physically by the police officers who came in the Toyota Fortuner, the hard body, and the GTI motor vehicle?
Ngaphambi kokuthi ke uBrigadier Kininda kanye naye uSergeant Mukhula bafike laphayana amaphoyisa lana wona ayehamba ngeFortuner iGT kanye nehard body ikhona yini into abayenza kuwena?
Yikho phela Nkosi enkantolo ukuthi ngiyoshaya.
Uphinde?
Ngithi ukuthi ngiyoshaya. Ukuthi ngivuma ukuthi kuthiwa mangisayina lento engafuni ukuyisayina.
Yes, my lord. God, I had been taken there to be assaulted. Hence, I then had to sign this document that I was told to sign.
And who assaulted you?
Ushayo bani?
Uyobuthelezi
Buthelezi.
lo ngimshotho enomzimba wayena wayengibambe la khona ukuthi ngingakhona ungimuva ngiyemove mangimile
The
ngibambe
one that I
ngokuthelezi ngibambe
described
ngapha.
to be well built because he was holding me on my arms so as for me not to be able to move.
Who else?
Uplastiki wawukushitshana yena uJonathan naye lo mabhena.
The plastic, it would be changed between Mabena and Jonathan.
Let me pause it here. When you refer to those two names, earlier on you said you wish God should ababusise way two, that is Jonathan and Bena. Why would God busisa your tormentors?
Ushilo ngaphambilini ke uma ukhuluma ukuthi ke afisa ukuthi uNkulunkulu angababusisa manje kungani ke ungafisela ukuthi uNkulunkulu abantu ababekuhlukumeza ukuthi ababusise?
Ukuthi inkosi enkantolo ento abayenza kimi yangiphatha kabuhlungu.
It is because, my Lord, what sorry they did to me, it hurt me very much.
Ngoba ngisho umalume engikhule phansi kwakhe akazangibeka isandla wayengishaya ngomfana ngishayile inkomo ngikhule lapho kugada khona inkomo.
Even my uncle, my Lord, who raised me, he had never beaten me to such an extent. It was only a kind of a beating where I had done something wrong, because I grew up in an area where one would be looking after cattle.
Ngisho obhuti imbala ubhuti akazangibeka isandla ubhuti uyangibonisa mekhuluma nami.
Even my
Ingakho ngithi
brother
nje
had never assaulted me. When I am wrong, my brother would then show me the way.
ingakho nje namanje phambi kwenkosi enkantolo ngithi lapha lele khona lo Jonathan lapha khona uNkulunkulu ambusise.
Hence, I'm saying that wherever he is resting, and even wherever Jonathan is, that may God bless them.
Now let's take it to that area now in Orlando where you are being, sorry, just for clarification, what were they using to assault you?
Babesebenzisani ukukushaya?
Okuyiyona lento inkosi enkantolo lesenza uplastiki nalento le yethoshe.
The plastic that I referred to, as well as this object, the torch object, my Lord.
And earlier on you testified that when this torch device was used, water was poured on you. Was water also poured on you on the 19th of June at that place in Orlando?
Ushilo ke ukuthi inkathi besebenzisa yona le yanto ke babekuthela nangamanzi ngazo i19 ke inkathi ke senise Orlando ke manje ngaba nalapho bakuthela ngamanzi.
Eza naye lo Jonathan amanzi.
Jonathan is the one who came with the water.
Now take it from there. You testified that Brigadier Gininda and Sergeant Mkhula arrived. What then transpired?
Shilo ke ukuthi kwase kufika uBrigadier Gininda naye uSergeant Mkhula kwase kwenzekani ke?
Angithi konto mangishupiwe mayeza bayangiyeka afika akhulume nami ethi namanje awufuna ukukhuluma iqiniso ngiyakuyeka mina bekubulala.
When I'm being choked, when he approaches, they would then stop, and then he would ask me, "Are you still not willing to talk?" And I would just let them kill you.
Ngimtshela kodwa akulungile akenze into ayibonayo.
I would then say, "It's okay, do as you please."
What then
Ngoba
transpired?
ayenze into ayibonayo ukuthi angisanisa amaphepha ngenkani.
And he did as it pleases him, or it pleased him, because he forcefully made me to sign documents.
Did you sign documents then at that place?
Wasuwasayina amaphepha.
Ngicela ngisayinile inkosi enkantolo ngizama ukuyilamulela. Ayikho into engangayenza. Ngoba
I
akekho
ended-
umuntu wangidefendela umhani wayephenduka ngathi umfana omncane futhi wayengeke akwazi ukuzongikhulumela la engangishawa khona.
I ended up signing just to protect myself. I couldn't do, and then no one was protecting me. Mukhana would just ended up like a small boy, and he couldn't just come and protect me or defend me.
Now, just for clarification purposes, you've already testified that you were not familiar with Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. Were you familiar with Orlando as a place? Have you been there?
Ushilo ukuthi isibhedlela lesiBaragwana ke indawo ongayazi, kodwa iOrlando yona le ndawo ke yona indawo owawujwayele noma owawuyazi.
Cha inkosi enkantolo ngiyazi mina ngabona ibhodi kuphela malibhala ukuthi Orlando ufike ngibona into la kubhala ukuthi bese ngithulela.
No, my Lord, I wasn't familiar with the place. I only saw the writing on the board that it was Orlando. I just saw that writing, and then I would keep quiet.
And prior to the 19th of June 2020, had you previously been to Moroka police station before?
Ngaphambi kwalelo langa 19 June 2020 wake waya yini ngaphambilini eMoroka police station?
Cha ngangiqala inkosi enkantolo.
No, it was the first time, my Lord.
And before you signed the document that you've just said that you signed now, how long did that assault occur at that place in Orlando?
Ngaphambi kokuthi usayine lela phepha uthi walisayina ke ukushaywa lokhu kwathatha isikhathi esingakanani lapha eOrlando ukuthi bakushaya isikhathi esingakanani?
Eish inkosi enkantolo laphana angengikazi uqala isikhathi.
I wouldn't be able
Ngoba
to
umuntu
estimate the time, my Lord. Yeah.
Umuntu mayenza lento ayenza ayaphinde akhiphe iplastic akhulume laba akhuluma kuma ngafuna uphendula phinde ethi akafuna ukukhuluma ngeke ngikwazi ukumeshina isikhathi Nkosi enkantolo.
Because the person would be doing whatever it is that he's doing, take out the plastic, and then speak to you, and if you don't want to talk, and then would then proceed. So I won't be able to tell the time.
Now, Geninda testified in this case to say that it is not truth that he was there on the 19th and he never drove a white BMW to that place.
Ubufakazi bakhe ke abethule lana ku Brigadier Gininda uthe akakazaye kuleya ndawo futhi akaza ashayeleke iBMW emhlophe.
Lokho mina ngiyamphikisa Nkosi enkantolo.
I dispute that, my lord.
Ngoba nguye ozazi imoto zakhe ukuthi zingaki. Mina ngizazi imoto